Hi, I'm Jason from StrataGames, and today we're playing some more Pauper. This is Sultai Affinity. So I thought Kenku Artificer is a really strong card in Grixis Affinity. Why not try to focus a little bit more on creating indestructible creatures for our board? So I actually only ended up with one Kenku Artificer in the deck. It's 3 mana, it's kind of expensive, but the other ways we have to make indestructible creatures is with Wind Zendikon, which turns it for 1 mana into a 2/2 flyer, and when the land dies, you get that land back. So you lose the Wind Zendikon, but you don't lose that land. And then the green is for Brave the Wilds. So this can search up a basic land, so it takes the place of our lands. Our land count's a little lower, and it can also fix our mana. And then it can turn a land into a 3/3 permanently if we bargain it, which is great with like our Ichor Wellsprings or a blood token or anything like that. So we can make indestructible creatures that are able to attack. Ideally, we'll have a couple of those running around. And then we can use Rancor to give it +2/+0 and trample so that we can, our 3/3 on the ground can get past our opponent's Mirror Enforcers or Terrors or anything like that. We can also just put these on our own Mirror Enforcers and Refurbished Familiars and things like that, because we are pretty similar to a Grixis Affinity list with a focus on the artifact creature lands. We also have 2 Unexpected Fangs. If we have an indestructible creature, even if that keeps running up against a blocker or something like that, if we're able to give it lifelink and gain 4 life every single turn, that's going to be really powerful, especially against those red decks and things like that. And other than that, it looks like kind of a standard affinity deck. We have Blood Fountains for value late game, recouping creatures from the graveyard. We have that Kenku Artificer, Refurbished Familiars, Mirror Enforcers, Thought Casts to draw cards. We have a couple Metallic Rebukes, because I think if our opponents do happen to have cards in their deck that are able to deal with an indestructible creature, be it Journey to Nowheres for exile or anything like that, we want to have an answer for it. So we got a couple Metallic Rebukes, Deadly Disputes, Cast Downs, Reckoner's Bargain, all for card draw or removal, Ichor Wellspring, and some Nile Spellbombs. We have a pretty standard mana base for this type of a deck. We do have a basic of each of the 3 colors. Since the Brave the Wilds grabs basics, we're going to need those. And then for our sideboard, we have Blue Elemental Blast for red matchups, Cast Down for Brood Scale or anything where we really need to kill a creature, Suffocating Fumes for mono red or mono white or anything like that, Weather the Storms for those burn matchups. Troublemaker Oof is another way to bargain that allows us to exile if we're against an opposing affinity deck. And then we have Turn Aside as a nice counterspell. The game plan is, obviously we can win with Mirror Enforcers or Refurbished Familiars, but the main game plan is to get an indestructible creature on the field. Our opponents are going to be bringing in any possible way that they can to kill that creature, be it a Dust to Dust, of course, but also even like an Agony Warp or anything like that. So having some turn asides that we're able to bring in if we assume our opponent is going to have an answer for our indestructible creatures is really key. So let's jump right into the games. Here we are on the play with no lands, so down to 6. This one looks reasonable. We'll give it a try here. We can get a fast Brave the Wilds down and an Unexpected Fangs. Question is, do we just pitch this Cast Down then? If so, we're kind of all in on this plan. Or I could just get rid of the island and then fetch it back up, or another land with the Brave the Wilds. I think that might be a little better. So let's do that. Start with our black source so we can get down a Blood Fountain. We'll probably be looking at a turn 3 Brave the Wilds here, and that's totally fine. We're against Elves, it looks like. Could be Walls or something like that, but definitely good that we kept this Cast Down. Let's just start with a Blood Fountain and pass. Question is going to be what we use the Cast Down on. Using it on just a Mana Dork is probably not where we want to be. It'll probably need to be on a Turn Timber Ranger or a Timber Watch Elf is what I mean. Not Turn Timber. Or something like that. So we got our bridge, so I could just cast down the Timber Watch now. I don't have a ton of Elves at the moment, but we're going to need to get rid of it at some point. And then next turn I can go Brave the Wilds. So sure, let's just cast this guy down, pass to them. Having an indestructible lifelinker is going to be pretty good against Elves, I do think. But not to say that just having that is going to definitely win us the game, because if they get some of these guys and are able to go around us, hit for a lot more, our 4 mana or our 4 damage lifelink isn't going to necessarily matter too much. They have a Priest of Titania and a Masked Vandal. Of course they do. Able to take out probably one of our lands, maybe a Blood Fountain. Yep, just going for the Mistfall Bridge. a little annoying, but not the end of the world. Blood Fountain, so I can Brave the Wilds. We'll go on the black-green because we're going to grab a black source to play the Blood Fountain here. So cast with Bargain, target a land, sacrifice, blood token. I'm going to search up a swamp, play that, and sure, we'll just start swinging for 3. Play another Blood Fountain, and we can make another one next turn. I guess maybe I should have gotten a forest if I wanted to use Brave the Wilds on this next turn. Yeah, that would have been better, I think. Because now, if I use it, I have to tap one of our 2/3/3s to be able to use it. It's possible I just want to go with the Unexpected Fangs next turn, though. They have a Priest of Titania, a Birch Lore, and a Quirion. Okay, so they have the mana, but they're out of gas. So if they can just draw poorly, this Unexpected Fangs can kind of get us there. We get another Brave the Wilds. Okay, so that's fine. We're going to Brave, cast. We're going to target this. We're just not going to be able to attack with it this turn, but we're going to sack this. Grab that forest now. We can play it. And then we can still swing and Unexpected Fangs to offset any damage that they deal to us. We do need them to whiff pretty hard here for a couple of turns, but if they do, we could have a good shot here. Also wouldn't mind more of our removal or anything. They get a Sentinel, that's pretty good for us. They're going to swing for 6. Our crackback is 7, though, which is not bad. We get a Mist Vault. I think we will play that and save the Brave the Wilds for next turn. They're going to chump. So down to 10. I could play it now, but I don't think it really matters, and I'd rather just surprise come at them with the 3rd Mistfall Bridge in case they swing all out here thinking that we can't kill them. That'd be pretty good. They get another Fintorn Elves. Okay. That's exactly where we want to be. So we'll take 6 here. Down to 13. And they have a Quirion to untap the Birch Lore. Yep, so they can untap for chump blockers. So there's not really any way we can kill them here. Refurbished is not bad, though. Let's start with that. Draw an extra card. Because we do just get the... Still just have the value of the Refurbished Familiars in this deck. Oh, you know what? They're going to discard a Forest rather than let us draw a card. That's pretty reasonable. We're going to Brave the Wilds. We really don't need both of these Blood Fountains at this point, so we'll just sack one of them to be able to swing for 10. Force at least one chump block. And they're going to go for, yep, just the one it looks like. No, maybe 2. Maybe more. Trying to figure out how many they can keep while not dying to like flyers in the air, I'm assuming. Because we do have that 2 flying next turn. They chumped with the Sentinel, so they don't actually have any reach on board. So yeah, if they block here, they're down to 7. I have 2 in the air, so they're at 5. They can only let 1 through then, so they have to have at least 2 blockers next turn. Plus, just having this familiar makes it so their attacks are rough, because if they attack, I could block 1. I guess I probably won't want to. I'd probably rather just get the damage on them. Birchlore Rangers is pretty good for us. They could have morphed it, but it doesn't look like it's really mattering, seeing as it's going to be a chump blocker either way. We will swing with the team. They got to lose at least 2 creatures here to survive. And if they just do that, they're down to 2, and this familiar kills them next turn. So they probably should chump 3 of them to survive, but they probably just think that in order to have a fighting chance, they need as much mana as possible, which is fair. If they do get a lead to Stampede or something here, they could definitely go off in a pretty spectacular fashion. They are tapping a lot of mana. 11, 12, could be a Hydra. There's no way they could Hydra us for lethal, is there? I don't think so. They'd need 20-ish mana. 22. And 1 blocker, or 1 attacker, so I think we're okay. If they just play a big Hydra, that blocks this, and they could triple chump. Still not the end of the world for us, especially because we can get back the familiar with the Blood Fountain. All right, and they concede, seeing that they cannot get there. It's great that we got that first game, and I'm hoping we're going to be able to get there. We do have a Suffocating Fumes and some cast downs. I will say that regular Grixis Affinity usually eats up Elves, because they do have some exile with the Masked Vandals, but a Cart Clan Shaman just ends their game a lot of times, so we'll see how this one goes in the second match here. We're definitely taking in all the removal we can, and I like the Rancors and the Unexpected Fangs. We don't need Spell Bombs, that's for sure. And everything else seems fine, but I guess Metallic Rebukes are only really good in the early game, so maybe keeping one of them, or maybe even just taking them both out. And like, Weather the Storm doesn't feel great because they're not casting, well, they cast a lot of spells, but like, if they're actually going off, they're going to be able to overcome whatever life we gain, even if we gain 20 life off of this. Turn aside, counter target spell, so it can't hit a Masked Vandal. That's annoying. I don't know what red, if they run any red spells. Troublemaker doesn't seem relevant, so I think maybe we just do the Metallic and hope we get it early enough that we're able to counter something relevant. Well, I hope this one isn't too slow, as we don't have much going on until turn 3, but then we get a Suffocating Fumes, which could be really good. So we're going to keep this one. Start with a 1-2, of course. So can't get it with that, but we're going to start with our bridges. Probably a Blood Fountain on turn 2, and then Suffocating on turn 3 if they have enough creatures to warrant it that are 1 toughness. They have a Well-Wisher, so that's looking pretty good here for the Suffocating Fumes. Wind Zendikon, not what we need right now, but Brave of the Wilds can grab our island, so we can win Zendikon in a few turns. So we're just going to pass, hope that they just dump a bunch more 1/1s. Priest of Titania, Llanowar Elves, etc. Would be pretty fantastic. They're going to gain 3 life here. Okay. Maybe they don't have anything to play then. Swing for 2 and pass. That is interesting. I don't know if they're anticipating the board wipe or what, but I don't think this... Oops. I don't think just these 2 is enough to Suffocating Fumes yet. So let's see. I could win Zendikon. I could just play a Mere Enforcer for 2. I don't think that's really necessary. I think I'd rather... You know, they could have Masked Vandals, but they want to save them for... We happen to be going against one of the few decks that can take these out with the Masked Vandals. So I kind of want to wait on that and just go with the Mere Enforcer, I think. And kind of wait until they've... Because they both need a creature in their graveyard, which we would be giving them with the Suffocating Fumes, and they need to play the Masked Vandal. So I'd rather they use that on like a Mere Enforcer, even though we can get that back with a Blood Fountain. I'd rather them do that than get rid of our indestructible creatures. They're going to Well-Wisher for 3 more life. And maybe just pass the turn here. Okay, we're a little flooded, especially since Brave can grab something for us. So we're going to Blood Token away this Tree of Tales. Deadly Dispute. And a Cast Down. I mean, let's just attack for 4. And do we just pass? I don't really want to throw out one of these and just get 2 for 1, or kind of 3 for 1 because they keep the 1/3. They just have a Masked Vandal. So, yeah, and until we kill one of their creatures or they find a Generous Ent to cycle, well, there it is, they can't do the Masked Vandal. Now, they did find the Generous Ent, so they can Masked Vandal here. But again, if they use it on this and then we're able to keep one of these around, I'm okay with that. Okay, they just have a Generous Ent. That's fine. We'll cast that down. Cast down. I guess we can just cast down. We can Brave the Wilds. And then we do have a Deadly Dispute for if they try to exile it. Or if I go Wind Zendikon first, when that dies, we get the land back. So maybe I just Wind Zendikon. They're going to Well-Wisher. Tangle Pool Bridge. It's just not quite as much damage, though. Yeah, let's just Brave. Oh, but I have to bargain for Brave, and I don't really have anything to bargain right now. Actually, yeah, we'll just Wind Zendikon then. So make this a 2/2. We'll play our bridge and attack for 6. They're gaining 3 a turn, but if we're now attacking for 6, then our clock is a little bit faster. And maybe we will just Suffocating Fumes at some point here. It just doesn't feel like, if all they're doing is gaining 3 life with their creatures, I'd rather save it for if they get something else scarier. So we will see if they can find something. But we have this Deadly Dispute. I don't think we're going to use it if they don't do anything scary here. There's a Timberwatch Elf, okay. Doesn't die to a Fumes. Swing for 2. Maybe we do Deadly Dispute then, because we want to find an answer for the Timberwatch. But I guess I can just leave back an Indestructible blocker. And they have to pump the guy that blocks against it. I don't know. I don't think we're in a rush. They're at 1 card in hand. I think we'll be okay if we just play it safe, play it slow. So let's just swing for 4 and pass to them. I'm going to crack a food. Yep, up to 22. They have another Generous Ent, finding all of them. Okay. Well-Wisher to gain some life. Worrying Ranger to untap the Well-Wisher. And they're just going to pass here. I think we'll go for the Deadly Dispute now. We do want to find a cast down for this and for this. Another Deadly Dispute. Well, we'll draw another 2. For sure. They're going to Well-Wish. Find an Unexpected Fangs. That's not bad. Blood Fountain can discard probably just a Vault here. We want as many Indestructible lands as possible, just in case we keep creating them as creatures. Yeah, get another land. So we can't quite attack here with a Fangs, because even if we Mirror Enforcer, make it a 5/5, Suffocating Fumes, make the Generous Ent a 4/6, it's not going to trade, and then we just are stonewalled again. I guess we will activate this Sleeper Bridge while we have the mana. Make another 3/3. Grab a land so we don't draw it. We'll do a swamp. And just pass for now. I mean, we're putting them in a spot where they don't have a lot of options of things to do, which is good. Like, until they get a Masked Vandal, they don't really have a way to get past these, and then they need a second Masked Vandal to get past the second one, so yeah, so we're okay here. We just definitely need to find some stuff. That's a 3rd creature. We might go for the Suffocating Fumes pretty soon here because the Well-Wisher is getting them too much life. Plus, we can kill 3 now. Problem is the Timberwatch Elf keeps one of them alive, and I would bet it's going to be the Well-Wisher in this case. So, kind of need a cast down for the Timberwatch first. But yeah, if we're able to find that, that'd be nice. Also, if we just start getting some Refurbished Familiars and things that we can use the Blood Fountain on, that'd be great. They're swinging with the team. They have 5 elves, so it's +5/+5, plus they can query in if they really need to. So let's try to, well, actually we should try to block the 1/2. And if I block like this gets +5. Have they used any of their rangers this turn? No. So whatever doesn't get blocked gets +15. That's what they're going to go for. And that's going to be lethal, except that we have this unexpected fangs. So in that case, we block kind of like this. And they're going to go for lethal, but it'll end up being short. So we have this fangs. So +5 to the ranger, +5 to the ranger. Untap again. +5 to the ranger. Question is, we gain 1 more life if we put this fangs on the Mirror Enforcer. I don't think the 1 more life is that relevant. I think we'd prefer to have an indestructible lifelinker. So let's gain 4 here. And we do take a big chunk, but we kill a couple of their guys. And they tap this, which means we can Suffocating Fumes to wipe the 2 rangers, so that this is not as scary. Or I guess they can use it on our turn. So no, they can still just use it now to buff them. That's not quite going to work, is it? No. But I do have another Mirror Enforcer. And I can... They only have 3 attackers if they want to not swing at this, so we can swing at them with the lifelinker. Start gaining life back. They only have 3 elves now, so that's only +9 at maximum, and we can block all 3. Yeah, it's a little awkward, because if we'd had the fumes last turn... Well, I could have killed one of the rangers instead of the Well-Wisher. That would have been better. I was just thinking that the Well-Wisher was being annoying, but the rangers are what's actually potentially threatening lethal on us, so that was a mistake. I should have killed the ranger when I had the chance. They would have pumped the Well-Wisher, or maybe even the sentinel would have been fine to leave. But I was trying to get the 2 toughness creature and then the lifelinker, or life gainer, which was frustrating me. But yeah, definitely should have taken out one of the rangers when I had the shot to do so. That's okay. They did get another elf, so now this is +4/+4, which is annoying because it makes it so that neither of the creatures is bigger than a Mirror Enforcer. We do have the Blood Fountains to recur our Mirror Enforcers, though. Oh, they're swinging with the Timberwatch Elf. Oh, they can attack with it and then still untap it to pump. That's interesting. I like that. Thing is, I can Suffocating Fumes here before blocks, and in order to save these rangers, they're going to have to pump them both, in which case I can eat the elf. So I'm not going to die to it. Or they're going to have to let them both go. They can, but then they have to pump these right now because the rangers are going to be gone either way. So pretty clever. I didn't think about the fact that you can swing with the Timberwatch and then still untap it to pump itself. But, yeah. Not bad from them. So they're going to untap it once. Trying to figure out what they want to save. Again, if they save both rangers, the Timberwatch Elf is open to getting eaten. And I'm assuming they're probably going to pump it at least once. But by making them do this all before blocks, we can make sure we don't die, and make it really awkward for them to figure out what to pump. Because even if they only pump the Timberwatch Elf once, I can still block it with the Mirror Enforcer and a Dark Moss Bridge, and eat it, and then like chomp the Generous Ent, and that would make it so that we won't die. So they do pump one of the Rangers. Might as well go for the other one too here, otherwise this one dies too. So yeah, the being able to attack with the ranger or the elf, Timberwatch elf, and then being able to tap it, if we didn't have anything, could have definitely given them lethal here. The fact that we had this trick means that it's actually worse for them because they pretty much can't get out of losing their Timberwatch elf now, unless if they double pumped it, in which case they would lose both their rangers, and we could eat a generous ent, and we could just block with an indestructible creature on the elf. So they are going for that second untap. And if they just tap on the ranger, those are going to be 5/5s, but they're going to be shrunk to 4/4s. So I think we just double trade the Mirror Enforcers. Excuse me, the Mirror Enforcers for the rangers. Looks like they went for the Timberwatch elf though. So we did kill a ranger, and we get to block now. This is a 4/5, so we're going to block it here. This. We're taking 4 off of this generous ent, and we get to trade with this ranger as well. So this works out great for us. We lose both our enforcers, but we can get them right back with a blood fountain. They're down to a generous ent and a sentinel, and a couple forests in hand. I believe they had 1 card before the forests, so they could have another spell that we just don't know about yet. Refurbished Familiar. Well, that's not going to get anything of value, but still not bad to play and make them discard something. So get rid of a forest. Blood Fountain back our 2 enforcers. And play them again. Swing with our Lifelinker. Should I also swing with our Dark Moss? If they want to swing with the Generous Ent, we just double block with Mirror Enforcers, and I don't think there's much they can do about that. If they have a Masked Vandal, they could exile a Mirror Enforcer, and then I'd have to chump it. But honestly, if they use their Masked Vandal on a Mirror Enforcer, I'm totally okay with that. When they've got these going around, that seems like the bigger issue. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. So hit them for 6. They play a forest, and they do have that Vandal. Let's see what they go for. Yep, the Lifelinker is the one that makes the most sense. This puts us more at parity. We're going to be in a bit of a board stall again, unless they want to swing with the Generous Ent, which would be great. No, so we do need to find removal, although we do find another familiar, which is pretty good. Take their last card, even if it's just a forest. It is. So we can, if we swing with the team, block here or here, and then they have to take a bunch. We do have to be worried about dying on the crackback a little bit. Not quite lethal here, and they probably can't get haste for like a turn Timberwatch elf. I'm always going to say turn Timber elf. Turn Timber Ranger. I think we're just going to pass. I think we're just going to pass this turn. Maybe next turn we'll swing, since we have another familiar, which I guess could be blocked by a sentinel. But we can always bring guys back with the blood fountains. In fact, I don't hate swinging with 2 familiars to get chumped, or rather eaten, trade with this, and then get them both back and draw 2 cards, or make them discard a card or 2. I don't think that's terrible for us. 5 mana. Do they have their last Generous Ent? Gonna have to tap their Sentinel for it. 5 mana. No, it's a Nyxborn Hydra. Okay. That becomes a 4/6 and has Reach and Trample. Can't really swing with it because we could just trade a Mirror Enforcer for it, but not bad. Rancor. In general, that would be great. On the Lifelinker, it would be pretty good. But here, with a 5/7, doesn't really do much. So I could put it on a Mirror Enforcer just in case that they go for an attack. We can trade that Mirror Enforcer for this guy. I don't really see a reason not to. I think it's fine for now. I think we're just going to pass. We want to cast down. If we get a cast down, we can pick this off. Then we can Rancor up a Mirror Enforcer and start swinging in. Be pretty good. Or a Deadly Dispute to just draw some cards would be pretty good. Here's a Blood Fountain. That's not bad either. Keep recurring our guys. Gets us a redraw off of this swamp. We get a Kenku Artificer. I mean, the boot fits. I don't know how that's relevant here, but yeah, we'll play a Kenku Artificer. We can chump with that and then Blood Fountain it back. We just get another indestructible creature here. So pretty good, I think, so far. They are gonna pass us. Thoughtcast is a great draw. We just need to draw into some more stuff. Less of a great draw when it hits 2 lands, but if we're gonna hit them anyway, might as well get some value out of it. Next turn, I could just throw a couple birds away for a couple discards. Ooh, they found a Winding Way. And into 4 creatures. Okay, that's not what we want to see. Most of them are mana dorks, but they do have a Masked Vandal. So they get to take out one of our indestructible creatures if they would like. Play their priest, play their sentinel. Luckily, we're giving them just too many targets that even the Masked Vandal can't really push through for them. They don't even play it this turn. They're going to pass. Mere Enforcer. I would prefer a Thoughtcast or Deadly Dispute into some of these guys, but that's fine. Let's just play it and pass to them, I guess. Quite the board stall. We had a board stall with Elves in our White Weenies deck video last week. Card up there if you want to check it out. But yeah, Elves, if you don't just have a great board sweeper, Elves come up the board, and then if you have ways to come up the board, it just is quite the board stall. They're playing that Elves, Indhorn variety, and Aquarian Ranger. Can give them a bunch of mana. They're going to pass. Saving the Masked Vandal. Not really sure what they're saving it for. Probably if we lifelink one of these, or just in general get one of these big enough to start swinging through, they're going to keep the Vandal for that, which makes sense. They don't really... Getting rid of one of these doesn't do much right now. Speaking of, there's the Unexpected Fangs. But even that and Rancor only makes this a 6/4. Can't get past a Generous End. And then obviously just gets eaten by a Masked Vandal. I could... I think we're just passing for now. I'll play the Seat of the Synod. I could run 2 Refurbished Familiars into them, and they either get in for some damage, or they're going to, you know, chump or block or whatever. And then we can buy them back with a Blood Fountain, and we can take the Masked Vandal out of their hand. Problem with this is if they are smart enough, they might just block 1 Familiar, and then we can play it, but then they're going to Aquarian Ranger bounce a Forest and discard that instead of the Masked Vandal. Plus, we probably just wouldn't crack a Blood Fountain for just 1 creature here, so... Not exactly sure what to do. They have tapped for 7 mana. Anytime they tap for a lot of mana, I assume a Generous Ant, although we've already seen all 4 of them, I believe. No, we saw the Nyxborn instead of one of them. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so there could be a Generous Ant, or it could be another Nyxborn Hydra, which would be quite bad. That looks like a Masked Vandal, though, so not great, but we are seeing it. They're taking out the 3/3 flyer. I think that makes sense. Maybe they got another Masked Vandal. I'm gonna go for the Indestructible on this. No, tapping everything. Another Nyxborn, I would guess, then. On something. Maybe I should have had Rancor out on something. It would be more lifelink for this. It would be more damage to kill whatever they're about to buff. Probably the Generous Ant, I guess, since it's big and doesn't have trample yet. Not sure we can beat a 15 power, or I guess 20-ish power Generous Ant. Don't think we can really do much about that. But we'll see what they're doing. I feel like every time I see an Elves opponent get a Nyxborn Hydra, or rather tap as if they have a Nyxborn, it takes them 3 minutes to decide what to put it on. And then another 3 minutes to click down through all of their mana to put into X. So... Oh, yep, they're even untapping the Priest of Titania. Forgot they could do that, or rather, forgot they hadn't used it. So, 24 mana. Definitely going to be lethal, I think. We do have 10, 17 toughness, and 5 life to gain, so that's 22 that they have to get through. But if they're putting this 24 on the Generous Ant, and they already have 4 here, don't think that's quite going to do it for us. So, they did get there. The 27-29. Just couldn't find a second cast down. We had one really early, but that was it. So we block this exactly. I guess that's 2 damage we're missing, but we put everything here. It's 10, 12. Yeah, I don't think we're doing it. I guess I'm technically a little inefficient. I'm trying to keep this lifelinker around, but there's 2 damage here that I am not absorbing, but I'm pretty sure I already counted it and we're dead, but I just want to see it with my own eyes. Because we go up to 13, but we're taking like 20-ish from here, I think. Yeah. Oh, -2. So it was closer than I thought, because if we had blocked 2 more damage here, we would have been at 0, but we still wouldn't have gotten there. So it's totally fine. If we had put the Rancor on something, though, that would have been 2 more lifelink. To be fair, we would have survived, what, 1 turn, and then probably wouldn't have been able to survive the next turn, but that's okay. All right. Troublemaker Oof is interesting because it really only hits the Nyxborn Hydra, but it is a problem. But the Nyxborn Hydra usually comes out when it's lethal, so like that one we couldn't have gotten rid of. We could have gotten rid of the first one that we saw, and that could have helped things a little bit, but I don't think it's really what we needed. I don't think a Weather's going to help. Maybe Metallic's not bad, because if they really tap fully out for one of those, like, you can get them. It's not great in general, though. I think everything else is... I think it's probably just fine as we were doing it. Maybe we should have Suffocating Fumes earlier so they didn't have the Well-Wisher. I do think we messed up... This is not a keepable hand, unfortunately. I do think we messed up letting the Quirion survive and not the Well-Wisher. In that one combat, that was pretty key, I think. We'll get rid of this. Keep. And start with a Tangle. Cool. We have the cast down, we have some card draw here, so we definitely need to find some stuff, but it's not terrible. There's a Sentinel from them. Vault of Whispers. Gonna be mana efficient, play our Wellspring here. Another cast down's good. Next turn we can Bridge and Thoughtcast. We could Vault of Whispers and Thoughtcast with a cast down up. We have a Birchlore Rangers. And for 2, a Winding Way. See what they hit. They hit all 4, so they're going to have to discard, but 4 pretty good ones. These are all creatures that I would kill with a cast down under the right circumstances. I'm going to discard that Generous Scent, though. Alright. Well-Wisher, Avenging Hunter. An Avenging Hunter is going to be a problem. Guess we'll just play the Thoughtcast, hold up the cast downs. Got Deadly Dispute. I could use it now. We'd have to discard, and not really sure what we'd even draw. Oh, I could draw Familiar, which I could play, and then could take the initiative. I think that's worth trying for. We do have 4 of them. Didn't get there. We did get a Wind Zendikon, which can also take the initiative next turn. So let's discard. We want that untapped land. Let's discard one of these. It's a little awkward because we have to put this on the Tangle Pool Bridge if we want it Indestructible, and we'll have to use the treasure for it, but I think that's fine. Well, they actually can't quite Avenging Hunter here, so that's good news. They do Priest of Titania, though. And have 2 more mana. They could play a Well-Wisher or something like that, but it's possible they're worried about that Suffocating Fumes, which is understandable. Would love to draw that, must say. I mean, if they do put down the initiative and we're able to get a couple Indestructible creatures and take it, cast down the Tramplers, and then just like Indestructible up, initiative could definitely carry us there. So I think they're going to be pretty hesitant to put it out, but they might think that they're ahead enough or something like that and kind of be forced to. But it's not coming out this turn. It's pretty good for us. Right now, though, we're looking to just play a bridge and hold up some interaction. If we're lucky, though, we'll draw like a Refurbished Familiar, I think would be one of our better draws. Or, I mean, like a Thoughtcast into a couple Familiars would be great. Otherwise, we're probably just Reckoner's Bargaining the treasure token and maybe casting down something. But I will say they're on a limited time. I was going to say they're at 4 minutes and they weren't doing anything, and then they lost connection to the game. So they are already in a crunch time and unfortunately lost connection. We'll see how this pans out. Well, our opponent did not reconnect, and so we were able to win the match just from them timing out, unfortunately. Looks like we can't draw a card here, so no idea how this was going to pan out exactly. They could have gotten an Avenging Hunter down and just run away with the game from there, but we did have some cast down, some good interaction, but unfortunately, we just did not get to see that because of them timing out. All right, we're on the play here in match 2, and this hand looks pretty reasonable. 2 lands. We get our Ichor Wellspring, Blood Fountain, Refurbished Familiar, and a Kenku, so I think this one looks pretty good. We're going to start with our bridge. Turn 2, assuming we don't draw like another tap land or something, we'll probably just Ichor Wellspring. Try to draw to that 3rd land. They have an island, so they could Spell Pierce us, which would be a little annoying. We do get that bridge, though, so I think... I mean, would we prefer Blood Fountain or Ichor Wellspring to get Spell Pierced? I guess since we have the Reckoner's Bargain with the Wellspring, I'd prefer to just keep all of that going with all the value, but obviously Blood Fountain's pretty good value later. Oh, looks like we're lucky enough they didn't have the Spell Pierce for either. We get our bridge down 2, and we pass. Next turn, we get to play a Refurbished Familiar and an Ichor Wellspring, which looks pretty dang good to me. They're going to Brainstorm. They play an island and pass. We draw another Refurbished Familiar. I like it. I think for mana's sake, we're going to probably just play the Ichor Wellspring. Trying to figure out what to play so that it doesn't get countered, because we prefer the Refurbished Familiar to resolve. But do we think that it's more likely to resolve if we play it first and then threaten them with something scarier for 2 mana? Or if we play Ichor Wellspring and maybe they counter that? I think that the Familiar is one of the best cards in the deck, so I don't think something is going to be scarier than it. So I think we'll just play the Wellspring and see if they want to counter that. It resolves. We get a Spell Bomb. That could be scarier, but I think we'll hold that for next turn. Play the Familiar, see if it walks into a counter spell. And they Mental Note, Dragon Wings, and a Brainstorm. And they have another Thought Scour. So no, the Familiar's good. They do have 6 spells in their graveyard. No, 5, but yeah, they discard to Artful Dodge. 6 spells now, and Dragon Wings to give their terrors flying. So they could just slam 2 or 3 terrors here, and that would be pretty scary. Ideally, they don't have any, and they're still looking for them. In which case, we can maybe put down a Spell Bomb. They don't cast anything. And another Familiar. Okay. Well, that's pretty good. At least they don't have any now. We're going to swing for 2. They're going to probably try to counter a Spell Bomb. They're going to probably try to counter Spell Bomb. So maybe I lead with a Familiar, see if that gets countered. And if it does, I can Spell Bomb them. No, that's good. What do they have? A Boomerang? Okay. I guess I'll try the Spell Bomb now, and if it gets countered, I can just Familiar. That's also fine. Well, I'm going to Spell Bomb them in their upkeep, I guess. I know they don't have any Serpents in hand, but like we don't want them to draw them either. They're going to cycle Olorian Revealed. This is why I want to do it in their upkeep, in case they want to use any of their mana now. And it also, they had an Artful Dodge and a Dragon Wing, so they had some relevant cards in the graveyard too, not just spells for their terrors, but now they have to go about resetting their graveyard. Frantic Inventory. I don't usually see that. It could be not a mono blue terror deck. I just assumed because every single other card in there I've seen in terrors, and Dragon Wings doesn't make any sense if it's not a terror deck. But Frantic Inventory is an interesting one. I will say that mono blue is another opponent that's not great with our theme because they can often boomerang to bounce our Indestructible lands, but it might be fine right now. We're probably just going to wait on this Kenku for a while until hopefully they've passed all their boomerangs. They have a counterspell for the Familiar. I'm just going to Reckoner's Bargain our Wellspring while they're tapped out then. Get our value and see if we draw anything else here. That's pretty good. Nope. We'll play a bridge and pass. We do have some more value with these guys, but we're also just beating down for 4 every single turn. Their terrors are probably a couple turns away, and their delvers wouldn't flip right away. So they do frantic inventory for a nice draw too, and they do get a delver down. We're gonna swing first, see if they wanna. I doubt they're gonna boomerang to prevent 2 damage and give us another discard, but it's kind of all they could do. If they had like an echoing return, maybe they would do that, but that'd also be good value for us. Let's start with the Wellspring, see if that eats a counterspell. Nope, it looks good. Mist Vault Bridge. Sure, we'll play a bridge and pass with the Dispute up. If they tap out here, we'll definitely use it. If not, we'll probably do it at their end step. See if we can get them to tap out a little bit of mana for our next turn. Delver doesn't flip, which is great. Our familiars get to keep attacking. They have a Lorien revealed. Okay. If they hadn't played a land yet this turn, I might Deadly Dispute there so that they couldn't counterspell, but they already have played a land, so they're only going to have the 1 mana regardless, so I might as well let them maybe play like another Delver or something here and see if they don't have this Spell Pierce. In fact, if they can only Spell Pierce here, I maybe just wait for Deadly Dispute till our turn so that it will resolve. So I'd really like to get some value that's not just a billion lands in hand. So let's go for that now. Maybe they're running a Dispel main deck. Okay, they are. Fair enough. Not super common, so I wasn't expecting it. It's a Brave the Wilds, though. And we have the Kenku. And since they're tapped out now, I'll play the Kenku, because even if they do have a Boomerang or something like that, it just gives us 3 more damage right here. Also, they obviously see that we're green, and they, you know, something weird is going on, but I'd rather than not show the Brave the Wilds and show them exactly what we're doing with the green. And they concede, seeing as we have 7 damage on them here, and they're probably not going to be able to hold off all our flyers for next turn. So we already have Spellbombs in the main deck, which is great. We get more cast downs because they don't have a ton of creatures, and the ones they have we need to kill. We maybe should bring in some Turn-Asides because their Boomerangs are going to be pretty brutal against our Indestructible lands. And I think that's it. They're not going to really have anything relevant for the rest of these. So what do we take out? Maybe we don't need 2 Metallics. Usually, I mean, Metallic can be a nice way to get a counterspell of theirs gone, but I don't think that's super relevant. Unexpected Fangs, I think, is good in this matchup, honestly. They're not like an aggro matchup so much. I mean, tempo, but like, it's not that the life is super relevant in like, oh, they're going to burn us to death, but it's that, oh, we can race them and there's nothing they can do unless they have a Boomerang or something like that. If we have the Unexpected Fangs on one of our, 4/4 Indestructible lands, because if they're hitting us for 5 or 6 with a Terror or Cryptic Serpent, then they can't really keep up. Rancors, I think, are pretty good because they allow our Mirror Enforcers to trade with a Terror. They allow our bridges to get past a Terror, so I like those. Wind Zendikons fly, so I think that's fine. So everything else is kind of good. I guess Turn-Aside's really only for the Boomerangs. Maybe we only need a couple, but they're pretty important. Maybe we don't need both of the Unexpected Fangs as much as I do think it's going to be good. Blood Fountains are pretty late game, and they don't go as late game. The bargains aren't as important, I guess. That kind of life. We still have 8 life. We have 8 card draw spells. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I think something like that might be fine. It's a little awkward. Not sure what to sideboard here for sure, but kind of like it. Here we have 2 Rancors. We do have a Spellbomb and a Brave the Wilds. Do I keep this off the back of Spellbomb? It could just get countered turn 1, in which case we're kind of screwed. We do have a Brave the Wilds, though. Then they need a Boomerang to be able to get us there. Let's give it a try, I guess. It's kind of awkward. I definitely wouldn't prefer 2 Rancors, but it's okay. Blood Fountain. Let's play that Dark Moss Bridge and pass. So next turn we can play maybe a Blood Fountain into a Spellbomb. Something like that. They Thought Scour, milling a Frantic Inventory. Pretty good for them. And they're just going to pass with 2 mana up. It's counterspell mana, of course. Refurbished Familiar is not bad. So let's start with a Blood Fountain. See what they want to do about that. They let it go. So I think... and then they Frantic Inventory. Okay, so they have 4 spells in Grave. I think we get down the Spell Bomb while they're tapped out, because they tapped out at kind of a weird time. I don't think we pop it yet, because 1, we don't get to draw a card, and 2, with 4 cards in Grave, if they want to untap play Island Terror, they can do that. But then I can go Brave the Wilds on a bridge as a blocker, and then I can Spellbomb them. And they do just slam that Terror. So, I think that's fine, though? I don't know. Mistvault Bridge. Problem is we only have 1 green / black here. That's pretty awkward. But the Brave the Wilds can find our black. Okay, yes, I remember how this card works. So, Brave the Wilds. Of course, it's going to be on a tapped bridge. Either way. But still, we're going to do it while they can't counterspell it. So let's sack this blood token. Make that a 3/3. Find our swamp. Play that. It's awkward because we're also not getting a bridge down here. I think I have to blow up the graveyard just because if we don't, they can play another terror, and we can't hold back infinite terrors. I guess if we Rancor this guy up... oh, and this is our only green source. So we have to tap it to Rancor it. That's pretty awkward. Yeah. I like kind of what's going on, but it's definitely awkward. You don't really want to be like using the Brave the Wilds this early, I don't think. Maybe like one more turn. But the fact that we were kind of forced into it, or not forced into it, but we wanted to do it while they were tapped out, it was just a little awkward. Let's play a Mistvault, play a Refurbished Familiar. I will say that's 1, 2, 3, 4 lands. We can play another Refurbished Familiar with this Dark Moss Bridge. Or I could just play the Rancor now. Although if they have a Boomerang now, it's pretty bad. Can't play the Enforcer either way. Let's just play a Refurbished Familiar. I could also just leave up the Dark Moss Bridge, but I'm kind of anticipating that like Boomerang on it. So I'd rather just have these guys down to like take cards out of their hand, trade, or not trade, chomp the Terror maybe. We saw they have Artful Dodge, so we need to be unwilling to go down to 5 here for sure. They discard an Echoing Truth, which could bounce both of these, but it is non-land, so it can't bounce the Dark Moss Bridge. So I could block here, then we lose one of our artifacts. We have this Blood Fountain to buy him back. I think we chump and keep our life total high. I think that's fine. Play an island and Murmuring Mystic. Well, that's bad if we can't get a cast down. And they have a Sleep of the Dead for the bridge. That's annoying, I will admit. Sleep of the Dead's pretty awkward here. Turn aside. I don't know if we would have wanted to use that, but ugh. The fact that this is our green is just really killing us because I can't even Rancor. I can Mirror Enforcer and I can leave up a turn aside. I only have 2 cards in hand, but not confident this is really going to work. Unless we find a cast down pretty soon. But we can double block the Terror here and then turn aside if they try to bounce. And if it just goes through, we can Blood Fountain back our Familiars or something for value. Let's give it a go. Boop, boop. If they have a bounce spell and then a counter spell, we're pretty hosed. I guess we get to replay a Mirror Enforcer and Rancor it, not unless we want to tap our bridge for it. There's the Boomerang on the Enforcer. Let's try to turn aside. See what they got. They do have the Dispel. So yeah, they just get a bunch of birds off of this, which is the real problem here. And they're down to 0 cards in hand. Playing their island. Oh, because they're going to sleep this again. Oh, Sleep of the Dead is so good. we don't draw a land, then we can Blood Fountain back our familiars, but we can't actually play either of them. I mean, there's Cast Down, but what are we going to cast down? Terror, and then we have 5 coming at us, potentially more at some point. If we don't kill the Terror, though, we kill this Mystic. We have 9, and there's really no way we can come back. So I think I only have 4 artifacts, too, so I can't even Mirror Enforcer and cast down this. So I think we cast down the Terror. We hope they whiff on spells with this Mystic. And then we need to find an Unexpected Fangs to... I guess we took one of them out, didn't we? We need to find the Unexpected Fangs to gain life and be able to survive this onslaught. But it's tough, for sure. And if they have a spell like a Brainstorm, that's going to mean they can Sleep of the Dead again. The Bridge. Which is pretty bad for us. Into a Lorien? Okay, you gotta be kidding me. Well, let's see what we draw here. But I'm not confident this one's gonna work out. Oh, and they have an island with 1 mana. Thoughtcast? Well, let's see if we can draw something good. I mean, those are good cards. I'm not sure it's enough. Let's start with a Deadly Dispute. It's Blood Fountain. Get a Dark Moss Bridge. That's another green. We get a Familiar. Make them discard a card. Unless they have the Annul. They do. Okay, they kind of have it all, don't they? Play the other Familiar. So discard their last card. We can play a Mirror Enforcer for 1. But we only have this 1 Familiar to trade with 1 Bird Illusion. Take 5 down to 4. So we kind of have to find that Unexpected Fangs. If we do, we can Unexpected and double Rancor this Mirror Enforcer maybe. That could be pretty good. They have a Sleep of the Dead, right. In fact, they have 2 Sleeps of the Dead if they want to tap both our creatures. That's not quite lethal. Pretty dang close, though. They only need to do the 1, I guess. And they're going to swing. We will take it down to 1. And see what else they got. Oh, look, it's Sleep of the Dead. They only know 1 thing. And it's Sleep of the Dead. Turn aside. Not going to do it. All right. On to the next game. Last game. I mean, my brain says Suffocating Fumes for that instance is pretty good, but of course, that's only if we get to that point. But it has cycling if not, so I think it's fine to bring in an Unexpected Fangs. Since we did kind of want one there, I do think it'd be okay. Lands was pretty awkward, but that can't really be helped. Maybe we don't need 2 turn-aside or 3 turn-asides, and we'll just do the 2 since they only have a few boomerangs. All right, 1 land, and it's just a Vault of Whispers, not going to cut it. This one, not great, but we're going to keep it. I think we just put back this Swamp. And I'm going to say it's worth just getting the spell bomb down right away so that they can't Spell Pierce it. And then we can just use it when they seem to have a big enough graveyard. Kenku Artificer, okay. They're going to cycle a Lorien Revealed for an island, of course. We're probably... It's always tough to figure out when to Spellbomb, but you want as many cards as possible, of course. You also want to make sure that they can't play a Terror unless you're really okay with it. And in this case, we're probably looking at 4 or 5 cards that are spells. I could play my Familiar here, but it walks into a counterspell. But yeah, I think we can just leave it. I don't think we need to do that when they have 7 cards in hand. Walks into counterspell, annul, steal sabotage, you know, whatever. They have a frantic inventory. Draws them 1 card. I could also use it if they go for another frantic inventory. I could use the spell bomb in response to it, so they draw 1 fewer card. Totally a possibility. We'll see if they go for something like that. Cycle Lorien revealed to get their 3rd island. Then play that. Like if they go for a Thought Scour here and they are really lucky and hit 2 spells, they could Terror before you have a chance to spell bomb them, but like it's probably not going to happen. I think we're just going to pass. We get a Wellspring. So let's play the Wellspring. Try to draw a card here. They let it go. Wind Zendikon. I could play a Familiar, but I'm still pretty sure that's just going to get countered. I'd rather like run out a Familiar and a Mirror Enforcer in the same turn. And this is kind of the turn we probably need to hold up the Spell Bomb. So being able to draw a card off of it's probably pretty good. They're going to Brainstorm. That does put them at 4. So they could slam a Terror, and they probably will. And we don't really have an answer to a Terror at the moment, is the annoying thing. But yeah, I guess maybe we just need to do it now. It is annoying because like usually you want to get 6 or 7 cards out of it, but if they just are willing to play a Terror right here for 3 mana, then it's kind of awkward because we don't have the cast down currently. So if they play an island and pass, they're just trying to be reactive, which is smart, I guess. Let's play a Blood Fountain. They're good with that. They're Refurbished Familiar. And they annul it. I'll go with a Mirror Enforcer. They can counter that too if they want. A Mental Note first, hitting 2 spells. Lucky for them. And then Counterspell. So it's up to 5 spells. If they cantrip, they can play a bunch of Terrors. We did set it up so that we could Blood Fountain back our 2 creatures that they just countered, but we haven't hit our 4th land, so we're not going to be able to play the Refurbished either way. They're playing a Cryptic Serpent. An Island and a Terror. So they've got 1 mana up. There's our cast down. I mean, kind of need to find a land, maybe get rid of this Suffocating Fumes, because it looks like right now we're just going to die to not a Mystic. Can't really afford to do it for 2 mana though, so let's just do it for 1. Blood Token it away. Ugh, Thoughtcast is real risky, but I think maybe we need to take that risk. Try to draw 2. We get the untapped land. That's what we needed. Cast down the Serpent. Hope they don't have the Dispel. They do, of course. Well, they only have a couple cards in hand. We're able to get down an Indestructible guy. Maybe we're fine. Refurbished Familiar. Let's start with that. Take a card out of their hand. It's a Thought Scour. Play a Dark Moss Bridge. Let's play a Wind Zendikon on this other Dark Moss Bridge. Try to have an Indestructible blocker. They've got a counter spell for that. So we're going to have to chump here. And then we're down to 4. We can Blood Fountain back a Refurbished and a Mirror Enforcer for blocks. It's not looking great. Wish we had a Reckoner's Bargain right here. Or Deadly Dispute to use up this 2 mana and draw a bunch. Be pretty good. They have a Lorien Revealed. Oof. That's no good. They are tapped out. We draw a Forest, so that means I could get back 2 Familiars if I want, but those aren't going to block these. I could just Kenku Artificer and Rancor that bridge up, which means it could eat one of these. We can chomp. We lose to a Boomerang, but we lose to a Boomerang either way. So we might as well do that. I probably need to tap a blue. So yeah, we're gonna lose to a Boomerang. Might as well do it in style. So we might as well play our Forest. Shows we don't have anything going on, but what are we gonna have with 1 black anyway? If we draw another land, we really might want it with this Blood Fountain. They have the Boomerang, and we are dead. Unfortunate. All right, round 3 here. This one looks okay. We need green mana, but we have some good early plays, Mirror Enforcer, Wind Zendikon, etc. It's possible we should be playing more of the bridges because we need that. We keep running into like not quite having the right mana to tap our blue, which is on a bridge, and then play it on another bridge. But it's just awkward because we also don't want to have a million tap lands, so it's kind of a tough balance there. We're going to play this Wellspring. Looks like we're against mono red. That Fangs is going to be really good. I was going to say, as long as we can just get down an indestructible creature with a Fangs on it before we die, we will be in a very good spot. And then the Rancor follows it up, so... Okay, that Tomb Raider is pretty scary, I will admit. But... we're not dead yet. So we're definitely playing this Dark Moss Bridge. Playing this Refurbished Familiar. They discard a card. I think we're just playing this Wind Zendikon this turn to save mana, even though it's going to be on a tapped land. They discard a Bolt, so I think we put it on the Mist Vault, and the next turn we get to Rancor up the Mist Vault, and then when they swing in, we get to block an Unexpected Fangs it. So, and then as soon as we have a 5 power indestructible creature, we will be golden. Mono red often does have Cast Into the Fire in the sideboard, so it's possible they'll have an answer. Maybe we'll probably bring in the Turn Aside, seeing as they have bolts and stuff anyway for like Refurbished Familiars. But if they have a couple cast downs, it's not the end of the world. They're going to Kuldotha here. They're Clockwork Percussionist. They hit a mountain, so if they have a Bushwhacker, we are in a bad time. If they don't have a Bushwhacker, well, there it is. So I guess it's possible the 5 lifelink isn't going to be enough, because what we're taking 12 here. We're down to 4. Sometimes they just have it on turn 3. Okay. So instead of Rancor, which to be fair is 2 life, we could just play Refurbished Familiar, takes a spell from their hand, maybe a Lightning Bolt if we're lucky. It's another blocker, which is going to save us 1 or 2 life, and then we still have the Unexpected Fangs. I think this is the best shot we have of surviving here. We're not all in on this one bridge. They discard a Tomb Raider, okay. So we are at 4. If they just have like a Goblin Grenade, we're dead, you know. But if they have to go to attacks, then I think we have a shot here. They're going to Synth to a Blast Runner. That's fine. They play a Percussionist from hand. Okay. They're going to probably swing with the team. And we're going to block. Now I could Fangs the Familiar. We gain just as much life, but as soon as they find, and it keeps our Familiar alive, which is pretty good. But as soon as they find a removal spell for the familiar, we're dead. Unless we really need it, because if we just do it here, we gain 3, but we take 4, so we're at 3. We Rancor it up. They also have a Blast Runner coming down, so they have 5 guys. They can crack this for 3 with Menace, so that's lethal. We wouldn't have a blocker for it. This Mirror Enforcer is going to cost more as well. I actually think we have to Unexpected Fangs the familiar here. I think we need that extra blocker. We know they don't have a bolt for it right now, which is good. But the fact that we're not putting it on our indestructible creature is very unfortunate. But I think it's necessary in this instance. We're still going to gain 3 life. We can still put the Rancor on it. This way we also have a Mirror Enforcer for 2 mana if we want. So everything's great about it, except if they just top deck like a Lightning Bolt and are able to just take out our familiar. But I think it's that or we pretty much die next turn. So they're going to play their Blast Runner, see what we draw. Wouldn't mind like an island. Not island. Island would be okay, but like a Seed of the Synod would have been good. So we could have suited this up. Mirror Force would have been cheaper. Okay. Now, we can still play this. Mirror Enforcer only costs 1. So we have 2 blockers. And I think, because we die to a bolt right now, I think we Rancor up this familiar and we start attacking with it. This way we don't die to a lightning bolt. If they have a lightning bolt, they're going to have to throw it at this. We still have, we're up to 8 life, and we have 2 blockers, which means even if they menace, we can block that. If they just swing in with everything, we can block a couple. I think that's the best chance we have at surviving here. And if they just don't draw a bolt, I mean, if we gain 10 life off of this, we'll be in a very good spot. The 5 life is already great, but every 5 we gain is just even better. So, they could crack their synth here. If they don't have a mountain or get one, then they can't play whatever comes off of it, but they do get to buff up their Blast Runner. They don't, and they go to combat, so let's see if they swing. They can hit us for 3, but they're going to lose a Blast Runner and a Goblin off of it, which, if they have a Goblin Grenade, we die, but if they don't, it's a pretty good trade for us, I think. You always want to block Clockwork Percussionist as late as you can, because if we block it here and then they get a bolt and they already have a bolt in hand, we're going to die. So we want to take out Goblins, and we want to take out, of course, like Blast Runners and stuff. We didn't have anything there. We get a Thought Cast, which is really awkward, because we only have the 1 blue. I could swing at them for 9. And I don't think we're doing that. I think we're swinging for 5, though. I'm going to swing first, because if they have the Lightning Bolt, I don't want to tap my Thought Cast. I don't want to tap my bridge for a Thought Cast if they have a bolt for this. But if they don't, and I'm up to 10 here with a Mirror Enforcer, I think I'm willing to Thought Cast here, because they need to have... they get in for 2 here past this. They need to find 8 damage, and I think that's worth the risk here for what we can get off the Thought Cast. We get a Metallic Rebuke, which could be pretty good, and we do get our second blue, which is going to make things better, but a little awkward this turn, as we don't get to play either of the blue spells in our hand. Still think it was okay, though, until we get Kuldotha Bushwhackered. But I think Kuldotha Bushwhacker would kill us either way, because that's 1/2, and they'd have 5 extra attack. Yeah, so they swing with just the Percussionist. I could take 1. I don't think there's any way we die if we take the 1 here. If I block, is there any way we die? They wouldn't have Galvanics online. They could find a Goblin Grenade and just have 2 Lightning Bolts. They could also find a Lightning Bolt for this. I think we can take 1 here. Usually I would block, but the fact that they could find a removal spell and stop our life gain is definitely concerning me, especially because if they don't get it this turn, we can actually just hold up a a Metallic Rebuke for it, so that they can't do it next turn. So if I was in danger of dying, like if this put me to like 6 and they could just double bolt, I might have just blocked it. But of course, they also have more likelihood of finding that bolt off of the Clockwork Percussionist, so It'd be more awkward there, but since I'm all the way at 9 life, I think I'm okay. Last words? They have the Chain Lightning. Dang. And we don't have that Rebuke up. So, good news is we get the Rancor back, and we have 8 or 6 damage on board. Rancor puts it to 8. Wind Zendikon puts it to 10. So actually, if I just Rancor and Wind Zendikon, I can force them to block for 1. Doesn't feel worth it, though, because I'm a swing with everything, and they could hit me back and potentially win. I think I would prefer to just Rancor this. Mirror Enforcer. Attack for 6. I can still win Zendikon this Dark Moss Bridge, so I'll have 2 blockers. And I can leave up Metallic Rebuke this way. So I think this is a little safer, and we wouldn't kill them this turn anyway. We would just be threatening lethal, but we can pretty definitively kill them next turn, so I think this is probably better. And I'm not too impatient that I needed to go for it last turn. So, because now they have to be able to find 9 damage through 2 indestructible blockers and a counterspell. We're going to swing with the Percussionist, so what's the chances? If we take it, I think the best they can have is like Goblin Grenade and Lightning Bolt or Flame Blast or Fire Blast or something like that, and we have a Rebuke for it. Whereas if we block here, theoretically, they could get a second Goblin Grenade with a Fire Blast or whatever, and they could get us. So I think we just take it, and then we counter anything they get here that would be lethal or prevent us from killing them. This is 1 damage and 1 damage to block, but that's not all that great. They do have 3. We can kill them either way here. So we might as well not show them we have a Metallic Rebuke, because they can kill this. That's fine. We'll get Rancor back, and we can attack for 4 or 6 flying. So I'm not worried about it either way. I don't know if they know these are flying or they're just forcing us to do it, but either way, we were able to get in for lethal damage. We also drew a Reckoner's Bargain, which is pretty good, although we just lost our Mirror Enforcer, so not as good there. But got in for lethal. We do have a lot of cards for this matchup because it's kind of a tough one, so the fact that we got game 1 is pretty great. I mean, we have the Unexpected Fangs and the Indestructible Creatures for that reason, but it can still be a tough one if they go really fast. So we get our Blue Elemental Blasts, our Suffocating Fumes, and our Weather the Storms. We get to take out the Metallics, which aren't great. Kenku's a little slow. Cast Downs are not very good. And Spell Bombs are not great. So we have a lot of good cards to cut, or rather bad cards to cut. And then they're not necessary. Like, they're not, oh, we definitely put them in. But honestly, Troublemaker Roof I don't hate in this matchup because they have relevant artifacts, even if not a ton. And just a 2/2 is nice to have over, like, I do like Rancor on an Unexpected Fangs target, but I don't think it's really what we need here. And honestly, maybe Wind Zendikon. We want the Reckoner's Bargains, obviously. Deadly Dispute. We don't need 10 draw spells. We don't want to spin our wheels too much. Maybe we just cut a Thought Cast here. Deadly Dispute's nice because it can eat like one of the removal spells, kind of a thing, like use it in response, but also it can pairs with our Ichor Wellspring. It also fixes our mana a little bit. So I think I prefer that over a Thought Cast. Yeah. So kind of not a transformative sideboard, but definitely a lot of cards to bring in, which I don't hate. So here, it's a bit of a slow one, but we do have the Blue Blast. Okay. So I can blast turn 1, turn 2 rather. Furbished. I think it's keep. I think it's a keep, but it is slow. So if they just have a lot of solid spells, like if they play a Great Furnace here and then 2 Tomb Raiders, we're in a rough spot. But if their hand is banking on more of like a Kuldotha Rebirth Bushwhacker hand, then we can disrupt that pretty nicely. So we won't necessarily die as quickly. They do have an Epicure, which is a pretty good card after their Blast Runner. They attack for 1, and They don't have a second land. That always makes things easier. We also drew a Suffocating Fumes, so that's pretty good. So they didn't draw land. What do we want to do here? We could just bridge and leave up Blue Blast, but what are they going to play for 1 mana that I'm really going to care about? Because if they Kuldotha, we Suffocating Fumes, but not if we play the bridge, because we won't be able to do that. I think we play the bridge and hold the Blue Blast just because I want the ability to Suffocating Fumes on turn 3. But I could also Vault of Whispers and then Refurbished here. But I think this is a little better. We're also... Oh, they could cast Into the Fire. If they get a land, they could do that, and we would definitely want to Blue Blast that. It's also possible they'll save that for when we try to animate one of our lands. It did get the Great Furnace, so Blue Blast could be pretty good to have here. See what they go for. It's a Bushwhacker. I mean, that's just 6 damage. So, 6 damage. I think we're just going to shoot the Blast Runner here, seeing as we can already take these out with the Suffocating Fumes. I think that's probably a little better. So we'll hit the Blast Runner, seeing as we can kill these with the Suffocating Fumes. We're only taking 4, so I don't think it's not too much that I can't afford to take it. We get another Blue Blast, so that's not bad. I think in that case... So I think we're going to play this Familiar, try to take a card out of their hand. We get to hold up Deadly Dispute and Blue Blast. And then if they go for like a Kuldotha, I'll let it resolve. If they then have a Bushwhacker, I'll counter that with the Blue Blast. And then I can Suffocating Fumes on our turn. I'm not really worried too much about anything. And if they go for like a Lightning Bolt on our Familiar, we'll just Deadly Dispute it. So I have another Bushwhacker. I mean, that's a little more awkward. I'm fine to trade this Familiar for one of those. The fact that we don't keep leaving up the Suffocating Fumes is making it a little awkward. But maybe we just block here and Deadly Dispute. Try to draw into our lands and stuff. Seeing as we can kill these anyway. There's our Unexpected Fangs, which is going to be very nice on a Mere Enforcer. Go to our turn, and no land. It's a little awkward, so I can't really do much other than just this Fumes. Oh, I can Wind Zendikon on the Dark Moss. And then I still have Fumes up. If they just swing, I could Unexpected Fangs it. If they go for a Kuldotha Bushwhacker, I can Suffocating Fumes. I still have blue up if they try to cast it into the fire, and I can Blue Blast it with the treasure token. So I've got a lot of options, and I think that's probably my best bet. So we'll see what they have here. If they just swing, I think we block and I Unexpected Fangs. The only way they can really get me is with a cast into the fire, and I have the Blue Blast to deal with that. So I think I'll be okay. They have a Galvanic Blast to our face with 3 artifacts. Okay. I'm assuming trying to get lethal here, so if they have another 2 bolts or Galvanics or whatever, they can get us. Galvanic. We're down to 2. I'm just going to let them dump their whole hand and then blast. Even though this one might be like a Lightning Bolt, which would be less damage. No, it's still another Galvanic. We're going to counter this one. We're going to take 2, but we're going to gain 3 off this Dark Moss. Triple Galvanic with the Great Furnaces and stuff is a pretty clutch hand, but not quite good enough. Then again, I think I have to swing here to gain life, because if we don't and they just draw a bolt, we die. And we are gaining 3 and they're only dealing 2, but if they have like a Bushwhacker or something, we'll only have 2 mana. We won't be able to Suffocating Fumes. So it's kind of a tough spot. I could just wait a turn and Suffocating Fumes. I don't think we can afford to. I think we're going to Ichor Wellspring, Refurbished Familiar. I think we got to swing. This is tough, but we're making it so we go to 6. They need 4 damage here, and they just use 3 Galvanic Blasts. So 4 damage would need to be a Bushwhacker, which they've also used 2 of already. It'd be a Bushwhacker, Goblin Grenade, 1 Galvanic, or something else. They have a Kuldotha Rebirth. That's fine by us because we have the Suffocating Fumes. We just want to land. Boom, untapped land. Perfect. So now we get to swing for 3, and then we have the Suffocating Fumes. We're going to wait till they attack just in case they top deck a Bushwhacker or something like that. But that's going to be pretty good. They get a Synth. See if that turns up a 1 toughness creature they want to play pre-combat. No, it's a mountain. In that case, we're going to ruin their day, wipe their board, and now we have a 3/3 lifelink Indestructible. I think that's going to clean up the game pretty nicely. Seat of the Synod's great. Let's play a Refurbished Familiar to draw a card. This is also giving us affinity for... so our Mirror Enforcer can cost 1. Let's attack for 3. The only awkward thing here is that we used both our black mana on our Familiar and our Dark Moss, so we can't Deadly Dispute, but honestly, I probably should have Deadly Disputed our Ichor Wellspring first, so that I could have Refurbished Familiared, yes, the 2 verbs, off of the Deadly Dispute, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. What did they turn up here? Another Kuldotha Rebirth. I mean, if they get a Bushwhacker or something, I guess they could maybe get us still. Pretty funny. Win Zendikon. Alright, we're going to start with the Deadly Dispute. Draw 3. See if we get something else relevant. Blood Fountain, not super. I can win Zendikon, attack for 7. I can attack for 11, but they can chump 1, so I don't think that's worth it. Let's play another Wellspring. Draw. Let's play a Tree of Tales and Deadly Dispute the Wellspring. Just keep drawing, see if we get anything else relevant. Troublemaker, oof. That doesn't do too much, but we have a Reckoner's Bargain, actually. Because if we swing with these 2 and they Bushwhacker, we'll be at 13, but they'll have a block. Actually, we might as well leave these both back. So I swing with this, we're at 13. Block, but they have 6 untapped. So they can't kill us there. But it almost feels safer if we just swing and we leave the mana to Reckoner's Bargain, the Mirror Enforcer, so we can go up to 17 rather than 13. And we'll also attack with it because if they want to block, then that kills one of their guys. They don't, they're down to 5. So yeah, I think this feels a little bit safer, even though I think both ways we have a pretty good shot of getting there. But we will see what they got. They need something pretty good. They have the Cast into the Fire. Okay, that is interesting. So I can sacrifice the bridge. Doesn't do anything. Well, it doesn't gain us life, that is. Familiar's hitting for 2. They're going to leave back 1 blocker for the Mirror Enforcer, or I could just sack the Mirror Enforcer now. And then they get to attack with all of them. But we go up to 17, and then we can buy them back with the Blood Fountain. I think that's better. So let's just sack this. Gain a bunch. Weather the Storm could be pretty good, too. And now they can swing. Oh, also, Win Zendikon is 2 haste damage. So if I just draw like a Rancor or something, I can... Oh, I don't think we have Rancor. I think we took those out. But if we draw our other Unexpected Fangs, like 1 more damage we could get there. Okay. So we didn't do that. In that case, let's play a Wellspring. Draw a card. Let's Troublemaker Oof with Bargain. This Wellspring. Draw another card. Exile their blood. We get to attack for 2. Have a blocker for them in case they Bushwhacker. Just trying to make sure there's the least possibility of us dying here. So I could Weather the Storm, put us to 20. We don't actually... Oh, and then we have a win con. Yeah, so we can Zendikon them next turn as a win. So yeah, let's just do that. Because I was like, oh, if we don't have lethal on them, we'll have to take an additional turn to kill them, which feels bad because it opens them up to being able to draw something good. But yeah, Win Zendikon's going to make it so we can win this turn, and no problem. So They're going to swing for 5. We're going to block one of them, take 4. And we're just going to Zendikon up this bridge. Actually, it doesn't even need to be a bridge. Let's make it this forest. Since we know they can't have anything relevant. And attack for 4. I could draw a bunch of cards, but let's just end the game there. Nice. This hand is not going to cut it. This one's quite a bit worse with no lands. All right. We have a keepable one. It's not amazing. I think we got to pitch this Mirror Enforcer. And do we get greedy, get rid of a bridge, or just get rid of the Blood Fountain? But then we don't have anything to deadly dispute. Yeah, I think we get rid of a bridge and a Mirror Enforcer. Unless we want double black. Maybe we just don't want both bridges. We don't really need the green as much. Turn 2, we play a Blood Fountain. Yeah, let's get rid of the Trio Tails and the Mirror Enforcer. Alright. Mold to 5, not really how we want to start, but I guess it's fine. Another blue deck. We do get another land. Okay, we'll start with the Mistvault and pass. So it could be another Terror deck. They consider, usually that would be mono blue Terror. They bin a Brainstorm off of it. They play an island and pass. Let's just start with our Blood Fountain. Or I could wait for next turn and I could Blood Fountain and Refurbished. Because this might just need a counterspell here. It's so hard to know what to do. If I should just walk into the counterspell or if I should just play this and pass. I think we'll just pass this time. So if I play the Blood Fountain and they don't counter it, then next turn I could Familiar and Thoughtcast. Frantic Inventory. Is this... I haven't seen the Frantic Inventory mono blue Terror deck in quite a while, and so I just 2 in a row seems shocking to me. Okay, then they brainstorm, they cycle a Lorien. Okay, this is all during their turn. Oh, for Contaminated. So they're blue-black. Okay, well they're tapped out, so that means we can resolve some stuff. I could go Familiar Blood Fountain or Familiar Thoughtcast. Also gotta Brave the Wilds. Let's start with our Familiar, because I think we're doing that either way. Oh, we should probably play our land first. Then Familiar. They're gonna pitch, so they're probably gonna have Snackers to pitch. They're blue-black. Another Frantic Inventory, okay. If they're ditching 1, they probably have a 3rd in hand, which is kind of annoying, honestly. Let's just Thoughtcast. No, they're not going to counter the Thoughtcast later, I don't think. Let's just Blood Fountain. Alright, it's tough to know. I will say if they Frantic Inventory and draw 3 here, that's going to be pretty annoying. Hard Evidence. Okay, I think they're playing... I've seen some people talking about Serpentine Curve. And I think that's probably what they're doing here. That's had a bit of a resurgence. Some people making some videos about those. So, in that case, we will want to find our spell bombs. Although I guess Serpentine Curve counts cards in graveyard, doesn't it? Or cards in exile. Either way, didn't find a land there, and we do want to find our land. So let's Deadly Dispute this. Hit a Dark Moss Bridge. Swing for 2, and I think we'll just keep our treasure. Pass here. But next turn I can Brave the Wilds and win Zendikon. Maybe just go for 7, hit for a lot. They are going to pass here. Only 3 cards in hand. They do have a clue, though. So let's start with a Wind Zendikon on this Mistfall Bridge. See what they want to do about that. They're going to behold the universe. Multiverse, sorry. There's many universes. They're going to behold them all. So, 1 top, 1 bottom, and then they draw 2. They Frantic Inventory, so they do get to draw 3 here. Pretty good. Back up to 7, but they're tapped out, so I guess we'll take the opportunity to Brave the Wilds, cast with Bargain, target this Dark Moss, sack this treasure, get an island. Swing with the team for 7. They can block 3 of it if they would like. And then play another Blood Fountain. So Serpentine Curve, I don't remember exactly what the card is. In my memory, it's 3 and a blue for create a 0/0 with X plus and plus 1 counters, where X is the number of spells you have in your graveyard and exile. I don't think it has trample, is the important part. And in blue-black, I'm not sure they have a way to give it trample. They do have a Suffocating Fumes here. That's only going to kill this familiar, unless they have another one, in which case it'll kill this Zendikon too. Maybe they just have like an Agony Warp to take out one of the bridges. Extract Confession, okay. They're getting there. We can sack either. We might as well keep the flying. No, I think I'd just rather hit for more damage quicker. So let's keep the Dark Moss. This also gives us our land back, which is nice. Anyway, my point with the curve is that I don't think it has trample. I'm not sure they can give it trample, although they could have like an Unexpected Fangs, in which case we're never going to be able to out damage that. But our Indestructible bridges can probably hold it at bay forever, is kind of my thought. We do have Blood Fountains, but we only have 1 Refurbished Familiar. Don't really have any other cards here. So I think we're going to Blood Token away a bridge here. See if we draw something. No, we do not. Another bridge. Well, let's Zendikon up this Dark Moss and play another Dark Moss so we have more green in case we want it. Swing for 5. They can chump one of them. Take 2. And they do. So if their main win con is only Serpentine Curves, though, we just need to have cast downs for each of them through counter spells. I guess that's the hard part. Because if they play one now, it's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. That's pretty big. Another Brave the Wilds. I mean, I think we're just going all in on these guys. Sack a Blood Fountain for this. We're not really using it right now anyway, or just sack a land. I guess we get a land off of the Brave. So yeah, let's just cast with Bargain, target this Mist Vault, sack a Vault of Whispers. They might just counter it, which is fine. Play a Mist Vault Bridge, swing for 5. You're going to chump down to 7. Consider. Mill a counterspell. Did they? No, they probably put a card on top. Okay, they put it on top. Like, they'd be crazy to mill a counterspell. They do have another hard evidence, so more chumpers. And drawing off their clue tokens. They have a Bachuka Bog. That's a little annoying. We wanted to get that familiar back. We just wanted to wait to get something back with it, but looks like they're passing. And we're just drawing lands. I mean, we are beating them down here. I'm just worried that they can play one curve and kind of get us good with it. But for now, we'll keep eating their crabs like we're going to the sushi bar and hitting for 2. And we have 5 damage. They need to have a blocker or a removal spell. They've already hit an Extract and a Suffocating Fumes. I feel like this type of deck would probably play 1 Agony Warp, so that could be a removal spell as well. Might have more than 1 sack effect as well. Guess we'll find out. There's a Drown in Sorrow. Sure. That'll work. I guess if they have a second one of those, they get them both, too. We do get our land back, as always. Wind Zendikon. Bouncing it back. They have another Suffocating Fumes? They do. Oh my gosh. Never thought Serpentine Curve would be the death of us here. I do certainly have a lot of ways to get around Indestructible. That's a Spell Bomb, which we're going to play. Again, I'm not really sure if it matters if this stuff's in the graveyard, except for like the Frantic Inventories, but we're going to blow it up regardless. We draw a card too, so we can maybe find something else, like a Mirror Enforcer. Play that. I mean, that's at least a threat. I mean, pretty close to killing them with it, but also it can come back with our Blood Fountains, assuming we don't get bogged or this gets exiled or anything. I do have a cast down for it right away, so I might need to buy it back next turn. Here's the curve. Create a 0/0 green and blue fractal. X plus multiple counters where this is 1 plus the total number of instant sorcery cards you own in exile and your graveyard. Yep, so the spell bomb doesn't matter, and it's 1 plus, which is interesting. I guess so you can cast it for 0, or so it counts itself essentially. Rite of Consumption. Additional cost to cast it, sacrifice a creature, deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to target player, you gain life equal. Okay, I did not realize it would be a flame deck. Very interesting. So, I guess cast down doesn't do anything if they're going to just fling it. Turn aside doesn't even do much. The way they killed our guys was all board wipes and sack effects, none of which targets our permanents. I really was not prepared for Serpentine Curve matchup, huh? I can bring in cast downs. That only helps if the Serpentine Curve is not getting Rite of Consumption. Spell bombs don't actually do that much. I'll keep them in probably because they draw a card and also they get rid of Frantic Inventories and stuff like that. But like, what else can I do here? I guess a Weather the Storm would like save me in that case, but like, it's not great. I guess if it keeps me alive, if they do that, they're casting at least 2 spells. I don't know. Definitely seems like a tough matchup, just kind of strangely. Yeah, I don't think the weather's even worth it. I think we'll just try it as is again. I will say that game was close and we mulled to 5. So, you know, if we had 7 cards in hand, I think we would have had a pretty good shot. Then again, looks like we might have to mulligan again. This one's not very good either. We only have a spell bomb. We can crack it right away, but we need to draw land. I don't think that's going to do it. Okay, guess we'll keep this one. I think we can comfortably get rid of the cast down, though, knowing that their only creatures really are crabs, which doesn't really matter, and Serpentine Curve, which is going to come way later. I think we get rid of this Fangs, too, as good as it could be. I think we just try to ride these out. Opponent did mull to 6, so even-ish playing field, although it's still 5 to 7 cards here. With the draw for turn, you know. They have an Aquifer. Brave the Wilds can't fetch us a green unless we have a green already, so a little annoying there. We're going to Familiar, make them pitch a card. Hard Evidence. Pass the turn. We got to go aggro. They're definitely the control here. And yeah. I don't know, I'm just still peeved that they happen to have all the removal for our deck. Let's swing with the Familiar for 2. And we can't do anything unless we want to Deadly Dispute this guy. And I don't really want to do that. So I guess we'll just pass. Especially because they could have like a Dispel or something. But we'll see. They're just passing it back to us, it looks like. Another Brave the Wilds. Phenomenal. Alright. Well, this one's falling apart a little bit. Against the deck that just crushes us, apparently. Serpentine Curve, we better watch out. Do we have to Deadly Dispute this now? Hope for no Spell Pierce. Let's have a shot. No, I guess we'll just let it go. Brainstorm. I think if we were actual Grixis Affinity, we'd have a much better shot here than what we're doing in this case. They've extracted Confession now, and they're tapped out, so at least we get to Deadly Dispute in this instance. That's not too bad for us. Still get their card out of it, and we get to finally draw our cards. We get a Forest, too. Although I think we're just playing a Mirror Enforcer for 3 mana here. Love a Familiar or something. No, we just get that. Yeah, let's just play the Enforcer and pass to them. They have a Brainstorm. See what they have a way to shuffle. Yeah, Lorien revealed. So probably just find an island. They already have a couple black. Indeed. They play it. Another Brainstorm. Really trying to sculpt that hand. Maybe just trying to find removal or something for this guy. Looks like they're just going to pass back to us. Metallic Rebuke's not bad. I could go for Brave the Wilds here with Metallic backup. Although I'd have to sack the treasure, tap the green, which means that in order to cast the Metallic, I'd have to tap the bridge or my Mirror Enforcer, which would be annoying. Could also just go for a Kenku. But same thing, although I'd have to tap both my creatures, so they'd really... If I try to counter it, it's not great. Could also just Rancor the Mirror Enforcer. Back for 6. I don't think that's quite as good, though. I think, yeah, we'll go for the Brave the Wilds on this bridge. I assume they still have some cast downs and stuff. I think actually we saw a cast down, so I'm still wanting to go for the Indestructible over the other ones. We will counter that. At least we'll have the bridge for next turn. The annoying thing is that we don't get in for the damage, and they could definitely have a removal spell for it before we get to use it, but I think we just got to chance it. Let's pick up a Swamp and swing for 4 here. And they're going to chump with the Crab. They're at 8 spells in Grave, which means they need 11 more to get to their 20/20. Behold the Multiverse, they're just going to cast it. Looking for a land and removal, I would bet. They double bottomed, so did not find what they were looking for, and they're going to consider as well. Okay, if they tap out looking for something, that's pretty good. They do put it on top, though, and they find a Bajuka Bog. Yeah, so definitely looking for that land, I think. And they found it. But we get to attack for 10 here. Play a Kenku or a Brave. We only have 1 green. I guess we only have 1 green, so maybe we want to Brave so that next turn we can Rancor and Kenku. But we have to sack a land to Brave, in which case next turn we don't really have the mana actually to Kenku and all that. So let's see. Rancor's only 2 damage and it's not as mana efficient. So let's play this Kenku. I mean, if they have like double Drown in Sorrow, we're wrecked. They wipe everything, but they need another black for that. If they Drown in Sorrow and Suffocating Fumes, they can do that, but the Mirror Enforcer lives, which would be lethal with a Rancor. If they need something pretty good here. 5 mana. Is that a Lorien? Okay. They're drawing for something. That's Desperation. They can't find it. I think we're good. A little bit of lag here, but yeah, they draw 3 up to 7 cards in hand. They have to be able to remove 2 of these, and the Rancor still kills, so they have a hard evidence for a blocker. I think that's going to be lethal, though. They're going to pass. We get a Deadly Dispute, so we're going to play our Swamp. I think we just Rancor the Kenku so that all of them are lethal. They can block a Mirror Enforcer, they can remove 1 other, I'm assuming, with 1 mana, but they can't get there. They concede, seeing that they can't win. So yeah, we just need them to, 1, have kind of a rough draw, like draw into more draw spells kind of a thing, and we need to have the aggro start. So that was another mulligan to 5, but we're able to get there that time. I think we're just keeping the same deck. I could swap out the cast downs for the weathers, I guess. I think we've seen the only creatures they're going to have, and I don't think either of them are that relevant. My concern is if they play an early Serpent for, like, I don't know, a 6/6 or an 8/8, how do we get through it? If we have the flyers, we're fine, but if we just have, like, Mirror Enforcers, we're not great. So, yeah, I think we just need to beat them to it. Keep the cast downs rather than the weather the storms. I don't think it's really the win con. So this hand looks okay. Turn 2 Wellspring. The fact that this is an island is pretty annoying, and this only grabs basics, so these Thoughtcasts are going to be pretty expensive. It's not great, actually, but I still think we got to keep it. It's not bad enough. I just really want to hit, like, an untapped artifact land. Would be pretty good. Even a tapped one's not terrible. They start with a Aquifer. We're going to play the Dark Moss Bridge and pass. Probably playing the Wellspring next turn, unless we get, like, a 1-drop that we can play. There's the Seed of the Synod. That's pretty good. Let's play that and then play the Wellspring. See if they want to waste a counterspell on the Wellspring. They do not. We get another bridge. Okay, I'm okay on lands now. I appreciate that we got pretty much what I asked for, but now I've got up to 6 with this Brave the Wilds. I'm okay with no more. Gonna Frantic Inventory or something on the inset? Maybe just Brainstorm Lorien. Okay, just a Lorien. Fair enough. Get another Contaminated. Go for that black source. I'll just play it and pass. Hold up Counterspell. So we can Thoughtcast here. True, another Thoughtcast. Well, we're going to get down a bridge. More blue so we can start Thoughtcasting. Let's do 1 Thoughtcast, see if they want to counter that. If not, ooh, we get a Familiar. We play that, they probably just counter it. We are at 8, though, cards. And we have more Thoughtcasts. It's fine. Because if they're countering this, they're not countering Mirror Enforcer or Brave or one of our Thoughtcasts. Like, I think it's okay here. We have a lot of gas going for us, which is exactly where we want to be. I am liking our position currently. They have a Brainstorm. So they did lose focus us, though. So that means they do have 4 actual counterspells probably still in the deck. I don't know if we've seen anything else. Any other counterspells? Maybe a Dispel. Crab Token is coming out. 4 cards in hand. Another Seed of the Synod. Let's start with a Thoughtcast. Another Familiar. Cast down. So let's play a Refurbished Familiar. I guess maybe we play our... kind of awkward. I think we're Tree of Tails first, just in case they have another lose focus. They can't counter this. And it does resolve. I like that. So they're going to pitch one of their cards. It's going to be a Frantic Inventory. Fair enough. Then I could just play a Mirror Enforcer for 1, in which case maybe I would have wanted to seat so I could Thoughtcast. Or I could Brave the Wilds, try to make that 3/3. But I think they got a counterspell for that. So I think we Mirror Enforcer, and if they counter this, maybe we go for the Brave on the bridge anyway, but we do it tapped. Okay. They just let it go. So we're going to pass back to them. If they Frantic here, it's going to be a little annoying. Okay, they just crack a Clue. I like that. We're up to 5. 3 mana could be a Suffocating. There it is. They do get the Familiar. And a Bojuka Bog for 2 Familiars. That's pretty annoying. They gotta be running a couple Bojuka Bogs, right? Otherwise, they're just getting real lucky with them. Wind Zendikon. Okay. Let's start with a Thoughtcast. We get some more stuff. We can... I don't want to get Spell Pierced. So let's play a Seat and Brave the Wilds with... let's do it on the Dark Moss. Let's do it with the Ichor Wellspring. And we get a land out of our deck. There's our Blood Fountain that is not great now that they've Removed our graveyard. I think we just want to go aggro. I'm going to wind Zendikon up this bridge as well. Again, they kind of need... Like, a Drown in Sorrow would be not great. 2 Drown in Sorrows would suck, but if they Drown in Sorrow as a 1-for-1, and then have to, like, Edict as a 1-for-1, like, it's not the end of the world, and we want as many creatures as possible in that case. So... I think this could be okay. We did get to hit for 9. They're at 11. They consider and leave it on top. That's not a good sign. But they got 4 cards in hand. Frantic Inventory draws them 2. And then they have another Frantic Inventory. Okay. That's getting pretty good. Island. They don't have a lot of mana here, though. Which means I can maybe get in another good hit. I might even cast down this crab so we can get in for 9. Depending on what they do here. They foretell. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Kenku. Oh, I'm so close. By Kenku, I don't have the mana to cast down. So I can hit for 8 and make them chump. That's not quite enough, though. So I think I'd prefer to cast down the crab, hit for the 9 that we already have, they're down to 2, and then the Kenku is lethal even if they're able to wipe our whole board. Plus, any Wind Zendikon I get in the future would be lethal unless they gain life or something like that. I think that's probably what we're going to do. Let's start with an Ichor Wellspring, because we're going to have to play this Untapped Swamp anyway to cast down. So might as well play this, because it's really the only other thing we can play. Blood Fountain. Fair enough. Oh, no, I did not want to cast that Blood Fountain. I tapped 2 mana, and it... That's Blood Fountain, even though I wanted to cast this cast down. This Blood Fountain doesn't even do me any good. Okay, in that case, I have to cast down with this mana. I can hit for 7, but they're at 4, which means Kenku's not lethal. Which means if they're able to wipe the board and then I can Kenku, I'm not winning yet. So they still have to find a way to wipe the whole board, which is tough, but if they're able to do it, we need to find something else to win. Ugh. They considered, they put the card on top and drew it. What is it, an Arms of Hadar? No, Serpentine Curve. Okay. It's an 11/11. They can Rights and they gain 11 off of it. Okay, they're not going to do that. I forgot that the Rights gains them life, so that's still pretty rough. They only have 2 mana, though. So if I swing with the team, they block here, and if they have like an Agony Warp or something... Well, Agony Warp's brutal. I hope it's not Agony Warp. But if it's like 1 removal spell, whatever it is, then they take 2. But if I can Kenku, then they're going to take 5, which is lethal. So they have to have something pretty good. It could be an Agony Warp. That would keep them alive, but... I think I got to try. If I swing out with everything and I don't win, they can kill my Kenku, attack with the Fractal for 11, and then Rights it, and then I die. It's pretty risky, but I think we have to. I could also Deadly Dispute our Ichor Wellspring. That leaves us with 3, but we get a treasure back. If they counter it... then I have lethal here. So I think that's fine, because I could draw something really good, like a cast down or something. Okay, let's try that as a way to start. Unexpected Fangs could be okay, maybe? I don't think so, really. Spell Bomb doesn't do anything, so let's play an island. Let's play... Oh, wait a second. I always forget about this. Kenku doesn't have to go on a land. It can go on any artifact. So I can... If I'm going to make a land that's already not just indestructible, a creature, I might as well just turn like this blood token into a creature, right? In which case I have 1 more mana. So... It doesn't really matter because our 1 mana isn't that relevant, but we might as well do that. So Kenku, Artificer... up this. Can't be Treasure because that has Summoning Sickness. Blood Token is fine because we played it last turn. Or Blood Fountain, which actually seems less useful. So let's do that. Blood Fountain. I mean, if they have an Unexpected Fangs, which I feel like makes sense in their deck, then we're screwed if we attack with the Mirror Enforcer. Actually, there's no reason to attack with the Mirror Enforcer anyway, right? Because these are all flying? No, because this one's not flying. Because it was a Brave the Wilds. So if we attack with these two and they have removal, we die. Probably. If they have Unexpected Fangs, we die if we swing with the ground creatures. And they're waiting for us to make a mistake here. They could just have a cast down because this isn't indestructible. Oh, God. They have both. If they have Unexpected Fangs, we swing with everything. They block here. They take 8, but they gain 11, so they're up to 7. They attack. They have the cast down as well. We're going to die. So either way, if they have a cast down, we lose. Which means we might as well go for that one over the Unexpected Fangs one. I think that's right. Let's just go with the Flyers and see if they got it. Ooh, yeah. They weren't just conceding. I feel like they had to have the Unexpected Fangs because maybe they just wanted to see if we would, whatever. But usually you concede in that situation if like a flunge like kills you. But they didn't have the cast down. I'm very happy with how that played out. So that was a very nice win. All right, round 5 here. This hand is mostly just card draw, but I think we'll keep it. We have nice land drops. We have all our colors of mana. If they happen to be a terror deck or something like that, we have a spell bomb or early interaction. And we just have some card draw to hopefully outvalue them. Another island deck. So could be terror. I heard terror is a pretty good card in the format. So do we want to just play a spell bomb here? If they have the spell pierce, it sucks. So I think we just wait. We can play it next turn through a spell pierce, and if they want to use a full counter spell on it, I think that's okay. They're gonna brainstorm. And another island and pass. Yeah, a lot of blue going around today. Thoughtcast. Okay, so we're gonna play a seat. Play our spell bomb. They counter it, we can just Thoughtcast. Either way, we can Thoughtcast. They have a spell stutter sprite. Ugh. Well, that is annoying, isn't it? You always hate the spell stutter. Well, we'll Thoughtcast and pass. So, mono blue fairies could be blue. Oh, I was going to say blue black or red. Don't see the red one as much, though. Okay. Let's Tangle Pool Bridge, and I could Thoughtcast here, but I can't do anything about another counter spell. I think we'll just pass. Next turn, I can Thoughtcast with a Metallic Rebuke up. They have an accumulated knowledge. Man, everyone's playing these cards today. Accumulated knowledge and Frantic Search. I haven't seen those cards in months, and now that's 3 matches here. Swing in for 1 with their spell stutter. Pass. Deadly Dispute. Let's play a Vault and Thoughtcast. Can't spell stutter it. Okay. We just get some Deadly Disputes. These they can spell stutter. And we don't really have anything we want to sack to them anyway, so bit of an awkward spot. Another accumulated knowledge. Guess we'll let them go. They try to do it again and draw 3. We'll counter the draw 3, but good for them. Our hand started out with lands and card draw, and that's all we've really drawn into, which is making it pretty awkward. Another Reckoner's Bargain. I can't even Deadly Dispute a land like out of desperation here, because then if they spell stutter it, I can't do anything about it, because I can Metallic Rebuke, but they have the mana for it. I guess if they go for something at end step there, I could try to Deadly Dispute. They're going to swing for 1. We'll take it. They're going to pass. Kenku. Okay, that doesn't get spell stuttered, which is nice. It does get just counterspelled, but if they don't have a counterspell, it could be okay. I don't know. We'll try it. See what happens. They got it. Gotta let it go. Maybe we can get to a blood fountain. They're gonna brainstorm here. Let's... Oh, I can't. I could deadly... I want to deadly dispute my Vault of Whispers here so that I can just start drawing something. But then they can spell stutter. I was thinking I could Metallic Rebuke, but I actually only have 4 lands, and I wouldn't get the treasure till after the deadly dispute has resolved. So I can't really do that. What an awkward spot. The good news is, if we're able to get past a counterspell with one of our Indestructible land makers, they're probably not going to have any way to deal with it, because they're going to have bolts and galvanic discharges maybe, and screds. Yeah, these are snow covered, right? Maybe screds, but they're probably not going to have any bounce spells or anything. But we need to actually get that to happen first, so... We've already taken 5 damage off this spell stutter. There's a Wind Zendikon, but that absolutely gets spell stuttered. I think we're just going to pass. I will say, while they're not doing anything else either, we're not in a terrible spot. It's just, we're not really doing anything and wasting mana, wasting time. We are losing very slowly, so... Deciding if they want to do anything on the end step here. They do brainstorm after they sack their landscape. I assume, yeah, they had already brainstormed, so it makes sense to do it in that order. Alright, back to them. They have an Augur of Bolas. I think we gotta let that go. The other thing is, if we don't really get anything going on here, I might as well not show them exactly what we're doing. Like, obviously they saw the Kenku, but that's pretty standard. They know we're Sultai, but they don't really know why. So I don't really want to show them that we're doing all this if we don't have to. But maybe we need to go for a Deadly Dispute here. Probable. I think we're going to go for it. I think we have to at some point. Let's Reckoner's Bargain, because the first one's most likely to get countered. If they spell stutter, we'll probably Deadly Dispute in response. They do have the spell stutter. So we only have 2 blue, so yeah, we're going to Deadly Dispute this Vault. I hate sacking all our lands, but we haven't drawn anything else. That one's going to resolve. Okay, now we can Deadly Dispute this treasure. That one's going to resolve. And... I mean, I can't Metallic Rebuke this still, but I could Reckoner's Bargain this treasure again. I mean, they're going to get this one, but we did just get 3 draw 3s, so... Draw 2s, not 3 draw 3s, God, I wish. So, I don't know. At least it was something that we got. Spellbomb could be good. I don't actually know if they're a terror deck, although they did counter our first Spellbomb, probably just because they wanted the value. Let's start with a Familiar. Actually, we should probably start with like a Blood Fountain or something that we can use to improvise this Metallic Rebuke, but... Okay, got the Familiar down. They have a Discharge that they pitched. Let's play that Blood Fountain. See if they want to fight over that. Maybe this is more likely to be fought over, so I should have started with a Wellspring. Because if I have to tap out, or at least the Spellbomb. So if I have to tap out for this Metallic Rebuke right now, it's kind of awkward. But now, I don't have to tap out. I can just tap these 2. Okay. So... Let's... I guess they have like a Spell Pierce or something. Let's go with a Spell Bomb next. And then... I don't think I want to like Brave or anything here. We already have a blocker for these. I guess they're fine trading that, but I'm fine with that too. They have 2 accumulated knowledges here. I probably should just blow up their graveyard. Plus, if they are playing any terrors, yeah, let's do that. I probably should do it in their upkeep, but I kind of want to see if I draw something like a Mirror Enforcer here. Thoughtcast isn't bad. Sure, let's Thoughtcast. And then Mistvault Bridge, Mirror Enforcer. And we still have Metallic Rebuke up. My god, what a turn. After that whole game being just about nothing, I think our patience paid off there. They do have the Scred. Can't really do anything about that. But that's okay. They're still only at 3 cards in hand, 4 now. But we have 6, most of which is action. We have this Blood Fountain. They do have a Lorien revealed. Oh, and they have 3 mana up, so they can even get past the Metallic Rebuke. I was definitely going to counter that, but not if they can play around it. Good news is they're going to be mostly tapped out for this turn, so I can kind of go off on my turn again. What do we have in our graveyard? Just a Mirror Enforcer and a Kenku. Ooh. I think we're happy to trade here, though. Buy this back, get the value from that. 5 cards in hand. Unexpected Fangs could be pretty good. We are getting a little bit low. So let's start with a Familiar. See if they want to fight over that at all. Nope. I think we definitely want to buy back Familiar Mirror Enforcer. I think it's just Kenku's a little pricey, and we have 2 other ways to do a Kenku effect anyway. Tap this, tap this, tap this, and blue and black are probably what we want, so get those. Play a Mirror Enforcer. Play a Refurbished Familiar. And can still Metallic if they want to counterspell here. I'm assuming they have ninjas, because that's usually the reason to play a Fairies deck. We haven't seen any yet. They discard a Scred. Pretty good for us. And we just get to pass, leaving out Metallic again. Though it's not super helpful, like, they can Lorien through it, but that's the main downside of the 7 turns or whatever it was that was just passing back and forth, is that this card's not doing too much work right now. They do have a Murmuring Mystic. Okay. I could counter that just so that they tap 3, but if they have any spells to cast for 1, I'd rather just save it in case they cast something for like 3 mana, or a 2 drop and a 1 drop or whatever. So we're gonna keep our blood token for the Metallic. Let's start with a Ichor Wellspring here. First, draw a card. Unless they're countering that. They have a Spell Stutter for it. Pretty annoying. I can't Metallic that, and I don't have a removal spell. Doesn't give them a bird, but it basically gives them a bird. I guess Counterspell would be doing basically the same thing. I can't really Brave the Wilds or anything while they have a Murmuring Mystic, though. Unexpected Fangs could be good on this Enforcer if we can get it past here, but they might have like a Scred, although I can counter Scred now. So that's 2 mana for that. I think just in case we can find like a cast down, we're gonna ditch this Mistvault here. No, just to Brave the Wilds. Okay. Well, they're gonna get the Spell Stutter, but I can swing with just the Enforcer, I think. They gotta take it or chomp or block here. If they block here, we're gonna kind of surprise them with this Unexpected Fangs. They have a Scred, we can counter it. If they have a Scred and a Counterspell, then we get outplayed, but that has to be just about those last 2 cards. They have the Counterspell. We're gonna try to counter that. It's not just that we're gaining 5 life here or whatever, it's that we're killing a Mystic, and that's what we really want to do. So they probably blocked because they didn't anticipate us to have anything weird like that in our main deck, which is totally understandable. That's kind of why we like it. So the fact that we were able to kill that Mystic is pretty good for us. They have a Brainstorm, but now they just have a bunch of 1/1s and, you know, a Brainstorm. Like, they don't they're not anywhere near as ahead without that. Plus, now our Braves and our Wind Zendikon and stuff can start doing a lot of work. I have an Augur. And gonna get a counterspell. Okay. Good news is, oh, well, Lorien's pretty freaking good. Don't even have a counterspell up here, though. Let's say the good news is that a counterspell is, well, there's the Scred, too. God, dude. I'm gonna say that counterspell can only deal with something that's not on the board, and what we had going on the board was already great, a 5/5 with lifelink, but that's not the case anymore. They're gonna swing at their Augur. I'm gonna take it. Sometimes I might not hate this trade, like one of these for this, but we can make 3/3s that are indestructible, so I don't really care about it. But the good thing is they're tapped out, which means that we're going to be able to get these down, and if they're all indestructible, they can't really do anything about that. So we're going to start with this Deadly Dispute because we're going to probably have to bargain a land anyway. Might as well draw 2 off of that land and then bargain it, or rather bargain the treasure. Plus get an Enforcer is pretty good. So we can play that and play a bridge, and we start going to town, I think. Finally, at long last, we reveal ourselves to the Jedi. Oh, wait, no. Undo. Cast, sorry, I have to target, I have to then pay for it, and then I have to bargain. All of which is often done by artifact lands, so it's confusing. So Brave the Wilds, we only get 1 island. We only have 1 island left, but that's okay. I think we just want to go on the beatdown, so I have no problem with casting this and sacking another one of these lands. And honestly, we have it, so might as well just play this Wind Zendikon too. How's that for a reveal? All right. So we might as well just swing with everything. Actually, we might as well leave these back until they have to start chumping with these, I guess. Plus, they could have like ninjas still, so we might want some blockers. But now they have to have some way to deal with 3 indestructible attackers in blue-red. Seems tough. Or they have to have like infinite blockers, but without a Murmuring Mystic, hopefully they don't have another one. It might be pretty tough to do that too. So. Ooh, yeah, this game turned around. Like, early game, luckily they weren't able to take advantage of it very much. They just concede. They know that they don't have an answer to these guys in their main deck. They'll probably have some Cast into the Fires in the sideboard, but that's totally fine. They're fairies, as well as Murmuring Mystics, so I can feel very confident in bringing the Suffocating Fumes in. Blue Blaster coming in, hits Screds and things like that, but also is going to hit any Cast into the Fires they bring in. And cast downs, I think, are pretty good too. If they do have ninjas, it's pretty important you kill those right away. Also Murmuring Mystics. So I don't think Rebukes are terrible, and they did end up playing fine because they were tapping out a bunch, but like they got so much mana so quickly, or rather over the course of 7 turns or whatever. But you know, I will say most or some fairies, Izzet Faeries decks I've seen do run like a terror, which is like you kind of want the spell bombs in, but it's also like you can't really afford to. I think taking those out is fine. I don't think Rancor is really necessary. It also gets spell studded really easily, but also like our indestructible guys are kind of going to get past them either way. It doesn't really matter. A Rancor on a Mirror Enforcer against a Murmuring Mystic could be pretty good, but otherwise I don't think we really need them. And there's not a lot else to cut. We could cut these Unexpected Fangs as good as they did there. They're not going to fall for that again. But if they just have like 4 flyers, 4 1/1s, and we're able to get Unexpected Fangs on our 3/3 flyer, they're going to have a hard time dealing with it if we can protect our guy against Cast in the Fires. So maybe we just cut... maybe we do like 1/1 Rebuke and Fangs. Does that seem reasonable? That seems okay. I could put in Turnicides. I guess Turnicide could be worth it for the cat. I guess it hits Cast in the Fire too, and Blue Elemental Blast is good also because they might have Gorilla Shamans. Actually, I like Turnicide. Let's bring those in which case we will just take out the Metallic. I forgot that the Turnicides are pretty good. So we'll take that out. I still kind of like the Fangs. Maybe we don't need the Reckoners. We don't need that life as much, but I can't really justify Unexpected over like card draw in like a control mirror kind of a thing. I mean, we're more mid-range, but anyway. We'll try it like that. That was quite the roller coaster. Both that game and that sideboarding. This is another one that's kind of just a lot of mana, but we do have a Blue Blast. We do have these guys. I mean, getting a Wind Zendikon down early as a way to stop fairies, I don't hate. Just an island for them. Let's start with... I'm going to start with this bridge. It's still blue, and unless we draw a... what's the thing? Unless we draw a Blood Fountain, it's not really going to matter if we don't have black. But we might just Brave the Wilds for a basic without bargaining it if we need here. Then again, they have Spell Stutter mana, so we're definitely not doing that. If they had tapped out at all, we would have. They did cycle this for an island, just making sure they didn't get a Volatile Fjord. Okay, so we're just gonna hold up the Blue Blast, I guess. They got a Fjord this time. So probably just gonna play that and pass back. Still can't Brave because of the Spell Stutter. Blood Fountain. I could Blood Fountain as a bait, but that doesn't seem very good. I think I'll just Ichor Wellspring. It doesn't seem like the type that they would probably counterspell. Maybe. Yeah, that's fine. We did want it for our land drop. We might not have hit it anyway, but I thought that was the best way to maybe get there without trying to feed a Spell Stutter, which I really don't want to do. Have the Cast of the Fire. That's the bad news, is that I didn't leave up the Blue Blast because I wanted to do that. Maybe I should have. It probably actually would have been better too. Blood Fountain, they probably Spell Stutter that. Sucks, but then I can Brave the Wilds, hit our third land drop, and get an island, which holds up our Blue Blast. Yeah, that was probably a mistake. Well, we have this. I have to hold this up in case they do another cast. I could Brave, but I'm still worried about that Spell Stutter. Ugh. Always having to play around the Spell Stutters. Tough. I've accumulated knowledge. If next turn I don't draw a land, I probably will just need to Brave the Wilds. Regardless. Which is fine. They scry 2 to the bottom with the Seer, play an island. So down to 3 cards. And we draw a bridge. It's not a black land, though, and we really need a black land. So I think we're going to chance it. Just Brave, no bargain. Yep, looks like they got the Fairy. The Sprite. The Pixie. The Spell Pierce. Okay, that's better. And we do have a land drop, just not quite the one we want. But yeah, Spell Pierce is way better than the Spell Stutter. That's the good news. I hope they don't Lorien here, though, because the only thing we have going for us is that they are out of cards. So a Ninja or a Lorien would be bad. They just pass. That's good. Seed of the Synod. I could play a 4-mana Mirror Enforcer. That feels bad. But it's either that or Wind Zendikoning up a Tangle Pool bridge, which I don't hate, because a counterspell is kind of whatever. Removing the Tangle Pool, I'm going to be able to Blue Blast, or I just get the Tangle Pool back. Plus it stops this from attacking. I think I'll just do that. And we really don't want this to attack if they have like ninjas. If it's just 1 damage, I don't really care. But if it turns into ninjas, I don't want that at all. We haven't seen the ninjas, but I just can't imagine you're playing fairies without them. There's another Fairies here. See what they want to do with the top of their deck. It'll be 1 and 1. We're going to pass here. Let's get a Vault of Whispers. Ooh, Dark Moss, that's pretty good. So that's still black for next turn. It also lets us play this Mirror Enforcer for 3, which means we get to leave up our bridge and our Blue Blast, which is what we want to be doing. Okay. Next turn, we can start... That's a Skred. They only have 1 card in hand. If I Blue Blast this, I get absolutely wrecked if they have a Cast of the Fire for my Tangle Pool, or if they have a ninja. And they did scry one to the top. We have a blood fountain to get this Mirror Enforcer back. I think we let it go. We also get kind of wrecked if they have a counterspell, but not anywhere near as much. Oh, God, it's a Lorien. Ugh. That's pretty bad. Bountiful Landscape. They're going to pass. That means they have a Spell Stutter. They have Spell Stutter mana up. Swamp's pretty good. Anything we play can get Spell Stuttered. So I kind of want this Blood Fountain to resolve. I really want this Blood Fountain to resolve. So I almost want a Deadly Dispute first to make it so the Blood Fountain's more likely to resolve, but I don't really want a Deadly Dispute a land. I'd rather Deadly Dispute a blood token. So I think we're just going to chance it with the Blood Fountain. Hope they don't have anything. They did not. That's great. And we're going to Deadly Dispute the blood. Try to get value here. Okay. And then, I guess, play this Wellspring while we can. While we have the mana. They're going to crack their landscape. Okay. They get another mountain. And we get a cast down. That's not bad. Those are some pretty good draws, I will admit. I'm glad that they did not have the counterspell or spell stutter or anything. So we have a nice blocker. We do have this blue blast, probably off a treasure token if they try to cast it into the fire, just so we still have the blocker. We have a cast down for that, so it's not the end of the world. They do, in fact, have at least one terror in their deck. Maybe I should have Reckoner's Bargain with that Ichor Wellspring on the end step. Ooh, we do get another cast down. I like that. We do still have an indestructible creature, actually, so we're not, like, desperate to kill this, because we can just block it, I think. We still want to kill it, but I think actually we'll just Reckoner's Bargain this Wellspring. Try to get some more value going. That's going to resolve. Nice. Brave the Wilds. Ooh. Well, in that case, I can Brave to get our island, buff this, and that's another blocker for terror, and also makes it so that we'd have lethal for the terror, so they really can't attack at all. Sack this treasure. That's why we didn't want to use the treasure, of course. And then we get to leave this stuff up. Okay. We're not doing too bad. At the end step here, we can just cast down this terror if they don't do anything. Or we could crack Blood Fountain. We only have the Mirror Enforcer to get. I actually don't know if I care about the terror, because all it does is attack, and we don't care about that. So I think we save these cast downs for a Murmuring Mystic, which is way scarier. Thoughtcast is a great draw. Let's try that. Draw 2. Okay. Not amazing, but we get some more land drops. And we're going to pass. Yeah, cast down just... I could use it on a terror, but I'd rather save it for a mystic, because if they have a counterspell to save it one time, we really want a second one. They're going to swing with 2 Fairy Seers. Okay. Oh, only one of these is flying. I was like thinking we could block them both. Okay. I maybe should have just cast one down then, but they do have the Ninja of the Deep Hours. So I could cast that down so they don't draw a card. But am I that scared of this? Because after they draw one card and then they don't get to really attack again, I think we'll let it go. Again, Murmuring Mystic's really the main thing I'm scared about here. And I don't want to run out my cast downs for cards that are ultimately not very relevant, only to lose to a Murmuring Mystic. Which, you know, they probably only have 1 or 2 of in the deck, but are definitely real threats we need to be worried about. Okay, we are just drawing lands. Not really what I want. I can't really get in unless I kill this terror. Either, I will say. I could Brave the Wilds, but I have to sack a land for it. I think we pass. We are about 5 minutes down on clock. I don't think it's going to come down to that, but definitely should be aware of it. So, accumulated knowledge, they draw 2 off of it. Not bad. Got a land. Can't really attack now. See, now their ninja's just like useless. So they cycled it, essentially. Really not a big deal. Another blue blast could be good. They're definitely going to draw some cards that matter that are red. They might even have some screds that just are irrelevant at the moment, but they're going to get some cast into the fires at some point, and we'll want the blue blasts for that time. So let's see if they have anything here. Nope, I'm going to pass. We have 3 enforcers and 4 refurbished familiars still. There's a refurbished. So I'm like, we still have some good value draws that I would love to hit because this Blood Fountain can start bringing them back. Of course, they probably have something easy to discard, like another Scred or something. There you go. All right, well, we'll pass. If they discharge this, I don't think I care, especially because I can get it back with the Blood Fountain, so I think we'll just let it go. Really just got to protect these 2. End step here. I think I will get these both back. Mirror Enforcer isn't really value. It can't get past this terror until I cast down the terror. I think that's fine. We'll cast down the terror if we need to. It's just we haven't really needed to at this point. Try to make them discard another. See if they want to try to counterspell it this time. They do. That's fine. Play a Mirror Enforcer, Dark Moss, and pass. So I think on the end step here, theirs, that is, I will cast down this terror so that we can just start attacking with the Mirror Enforcer. Because we can't wait forever for them to get a Murmuring Mystic, especially because they probably are going to have a bunch of counterspells to back it up at some point. So might as well go for this. If they have a Spell Stutter, I guess that's kind of awkward. I can... Yeah, I guess maybe this is bad. Because now I have to cast this down in order to try to make this one work. And if they have another Spell Stutter or Counterspell, we're kind of screwed. Yeah, maybe that was just bad. I don't know. Kind of feels like we got to do something at some point. But maybe that was not the time to do it. Because now if they get a Murmuring Mystic, we are kind of screwed. I was like, oh, I'm willing to spend 1 cast down on this, but forgetting that if they have a Spell Stutter, I have to be willing to spend 2 on it. Or I have to be willing to just let 1 go, and I clearly wasn't willing to do that. That's tough, too. We get a Deadly Dispute. I mean, they could just have another Spell Stutter for this, but we got to go for it, I think. Try to get some value. They don't. We get a cast down and a refurbished. That's pretty good. So take away another card from them. Spell Pierce. Question is, am I willing to try to kill this terror again? I don't think so. I think I'm a coward. We will Dark Moss Bridge this. What am I saying? We'll Brave the Wilds this Dark Moss Bridge as another blocker, though. And only one of these flies, so I can attack with this, but then they can get in with these 2, and that feels bad. They're back down to 2 cards in hand, but yeah. And these counterspells don't do anything in a counter war over a Murmuring Mystic, really. They're only really good against the cast into the fires, or Screds. Like, honestly, if there's another Scred for like this familiar or something, or this guy, I'll probably just try to counter it. Because we also have turn-asides to do the same job, and so we have 4 more cards in the deck that are really only good for this one purpose. Which doesn't feel great. There's another Lorien revealed. I mean, they could just outdraw us. I will say, as long as we don't time out, if we're able to kill the Mystic, maybe we can just win to decking, but that's like 23 more cards, which is so many more cards. They're going to Gorilla Shaman. That's definitely one that's counter worthy. I mean, it doesn't like blow up our whole plan, but it does still just kill 4 of our lands, which is pretty brutal. We get another Blue Blast. Do I need to go for the cast down? No, I still think we just survive. I will swing with this familiar, though. If they want to trade, that's fine. If they want to let it go, they'll start taking damage. They could let it go and then swing back and hit us with a ninja. They pick up a spell stutter, that's kind of annoying, because we only have one. But I can block the spell stutter, so they can pick up a fairies here. I don't know. They have a bountiful landscape. They're going to crack. And this might be the Murmuring Mystic. There it is. So they pass. We're not going to do it on the end step. We prefer to maybe have a new card, like another cast down or something that could be valuable. Or bait. Thoughtcast is great. Let's see if we draw anything good off of that. Wind Zendikon and a Mere Enforcer. Sure, we'll play that. Play a Wind Zendikon. I mean, that's 2 Wind Zendikons we can start attacking with. So they might try to counter this. No, they don't. I could swing with everything. If they have a ninja and get back a spell starter, that's pretty awkward. So I think we still leave back one of these guys. Swing for 4, though. Trying to draw out like a Scred or something. Yeah, they do it on the Mere Enforcer because they're getting a bird off of it. Do I go for the Mystic now? Well, I'm going to blast this, see if fighting over it, like maybe they spell stutter or something. Maybe they just don't care that much about it. I just want the bird for this. Worst case, maybe I cast down the Mystic in their upkeep here. I think we need to go for it. Because if it's able to live, we're screwed. Yeah, we'll try to kill it now. But if they have the counterspell, which feels like they're going to, then we're in a tough spot. And they do. Okay. What can we do here? I don't know. What game is this? Is this game 2? It is game 2. Okay, I need to play faster. I thought this was game 3. Jeez. What a match. Well, I guess I was trying to play faster and I had F6'd and I let them Gorilla Shaman. When I should have countered that, obviously. I guess it's fine. We would still prefer that we keep these from getting cast into the fire as opposed to Gorilla Shamaned, so maybe it's fine. But they do get to eat 4 of our lands, still pretty bad. Alright, new turn. Here, Enforcer. Well, I guess we can swing for 2, and they can start chumping. They want to do that, but they're also at 16. They're not really worried about it for a little bit. Play another Enforcer, pass the turn. I don't really know how this is going to go. I guess Indestructible Creatures is prone to make a board stall. Who knew? We were trying to break that with like Rancors and stuff, but I took them out. That's a cast into the fire that we get to counterspell. So good that we didn't counterspell the Gorilla Shaman, even though it is annoying losing 4 of our guys. Although if they have a counterspell here, they have a spell stutter. That is pretty brutal, isn't it? Okay. We might just have to scoop this one up so that we have a shot at the last game. Because I don't want to lose too much time. If we draw a dud here, we're going to go to the next game. Brave is a dud. We can't get in. We're going to lose at some point. I'm going to concede. I would like to have a shot at the last game and not run our clock down all the way. Okay, so Do we need a Rancor there? It would have been okay, but it does get spell started. Or an Unexpected Fangs would have been okay, too. If we could Fangs, I don't know. It's tough. It felt like we didn't need... It's probably just because we drew all the Blue Blasts super early, but like, I don't know if we need all these turn-aside effects. It's just if we get cast into the fire one time, it's pretty bad. But I almost feel like we do need these a little bit more. Maybe a metallic. Maybe we go for the old 1/1/1 on these three. All right. Let's try to play fast, get a nice quick game. This hand looks... It's okay. It's not amazing. We need... Ichor Wellspring would be a pretty good draw here. Refurbished Familiar would be okay. Yeah. I have a Fairy Seer. We do have a Suffocating Fumes, which isn't bad, but we don't really have a turn 2 play here, which is not great. They're going to scry 2 to the bottom. We get a cast down. I don't think I'm going to use that on this Fairy Seer. We already have the Suffocating Fumes, and I'd rather, like, if they turn it into a ninja, I'm going to cast it down for sure. But if it's just 1 damage, I can live with that, and I prefer to save this for other scarier things. Speaking of, I think I'm going to Thought Cast here for 3 mana. I'm going to Divination, and they're probably just going to counterspell it. But it still doesn't get Fairy Spell Center sprited, so they spell Pierce it. They have a Lorien revealed for a Fjord. We're going to take a damage. Wind Zendikon. Yeah, we're going to Zendikon up this bridge. Oh, I was thinking we could cast down the Spell Stutter, but we can, but then they can still counter it, so that's not great, actually. Maybe we should have just passed. It worked, although if they just cast into the fire, I guess we're kind of screwed, too, because we had to use our blue for it. This one's not working out great, I will admit. Not great. That's a Gorilla Shaman. That would be great to have any interaction for. We're going to take a damage. And they're going to pass. Let us use this, I guess. I could have cast it down there, but if they're going to let me Suffocating Fumes this, I might as well. Might as well get that value. They have another Spell Pierce that's pretty bad, but what are you going to do? They just wanted to, if we had a Deadly Dispute, which we just drew, if we had a Deadly Dispute, they wanted us to use it on our turn as opposed to on their turn, which is very reasonable and the correct play. But did let us Suffocating Fumes their Shaman there. They have the Cast into the Fire. That's probably going to be it for us, unless we draw a bridge here. Nope. It wasn't a great opening hand. I definitely could have mulliganed it, but I just didn't want to go lower, obviously. Definitely an unceremonious end here, though. Not usually how you want your final game of final match to go. We got the island, which doesn't open us up to anything except for a blue blast, which I don't think is going to matter because we don't even have an artifact on the board. I think we should just concede, but let's see what we draw here. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. All right, we are going to scoop it up. I mean, it's stumbling a little bit too, but there's no way we come back from this, so... Unfortunate that we only got the 3-2. We were so close to getting that 4-1 with the deck, but I think the deck's pretty sweet. Is it better than Grixis Affinity? No, of course not. But it's fun to have spins on classic archetypes. And so if you're just looking for wins, no, this deck might not be for you. But we got 3-2, almost a 4-1. I don't think it's a bad deck either. And I just think it's fun to have a bunch of indestructible creatures. So if you're interested in that, there's a deck list in the description, so make sure to check that out. And if you have any suggestions for the deck, please let me know. This was the first draft of it, so I'm sure there's tons that can be done to make it better. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.